All right. Yeah, you know what that means. We are live. And let's see who we got out there in the YouTube chat so far. We got Scotsman, who's also on the panel. And Guns and Barbecue complaining because he hadn't had his link yet when I hadn't sent anybody links yet. I tell you, these blind people, they just feel so entitled. And Gabriel's out there. Ashley A. and Jason Stewart, who is also on the panel. So good evening, everybody out there. Remember, you don't say something, we don't know you're there. I don't trust the YouTube thing to tell us who's out there as much as what Alan B. Pro does. So got Mike Oxsmall out there. So, yeah, I get the joke. Anyway, and as mentioned on the panel, we have Mr. Jason Stewart. How are you tonight?
Oh man, good to see everybody. It's been a bad day. It's also been a good day, and I'm just trying to make it a good evening, man. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. And I also have the aforementioned token blind guy, Mr. Guns and Barbecue. How are you tonight?
I just don't know the hell's going on there. Just got done choking on a chicken bone. Nearly died, but still good enough to make it back here and make sure I give you a rough night.
What else is new?
Nothing. Just looking forward to busting your balls tonight.
And also on the panel, the aforementioned Scotsman. How are you tonight, sir?
Oh, good, man. It's good to be here and good to see the token blind guy. You know, because he can't see us. So.
But I can smell you guys.
See me.
Y'all need to shower. Smells like section shame in here. What the hell happened before I got in here?
Well, since you were the first one in here, I don't know. It might just be something that coming from your kitchen or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I know, man. It smells like farts and cigarettes around here.
That was the mini tacos I ate. Sorry.
All right. So what's the topic for tonight, man?
Whatever. Last week we just talked about movies all night. So whatever you guys want to talk about it.
All right. So talking of movies, I watched one earlier, and I haven't watched a movie in a while. But I watched one earlier because my good friend Lion Quest Fitness sent me a text the other day and said, "Hey, me and my wife watched this movie, and it reminded me of you." Okay. So I looked it up. It was like $4 to rent on Amazon. So I watched it earlier. It's called Old Henry. And if you guys have not seen it, go watch it. It's well worth the $4. And he said it reminded him of me, and in all honesty, I can see that. It was it's got a couple twists to it, and it's a pretty dang good movie. I was pretty impressed with it.
Yeah, last week it was what? We just talked about movies that should be on everybody's must-watch list, essentially. We talk about old movies, new movie, well, newer or not new. There's very little coming out of Hollywood right now that's worth a damn to watch. Which is why I don't give a shit about this writer's strike. These people don't deserve a new contract. They're no damn good at their jobs. Bernie out there, you know Bernie. But yeah, we talked about this.
This movie was made in 2021, but it was pretty dang good.
What was the name
Oh
of this
yeah,
again?
Old Henry.
Old Henry.
And if you look it up on Amazon, it was like $4 to rent on
every so often there's still a gem that comes out, but for the most part, it's not like the old days where they were making good movies left and right.
This was, I was actually pretty impressed with this thing. It was, there's a couple of different twists in there, but they're well timed and they're well made. And overall, the whole thing was well done. So I was pretty impressed with it.
So Bernie wants to go watch Barbie, and then he says he'll bring the Coke. If he wants to go watch Barbie, he may already be on the Coke.
He might well be.
Is this a Billy the Kid movie?
I'm not going to say exactly, but there's a little twist in there, and it might well be. That might be the twist.
Oh yeah, he's definitely on the Coke because I think he's going to bring Bud Light too. Bernie might be the one guy keeping Bud Light in business right now.
Bernie, if you're drinking Bud Light, dude, I got to take away your wrench. You come on my show tomorrow, I'm taking your wrench away, man. I can't have that. Sorry, I just can't. There's no way.
Man, next he'll show up and he'll be wearing a dress and lipstick.
Freaking tutu and saying his pronouns, this, that, the other. Yeah, no, I'm done, dude. No, sorry, man. Nope.
He'll have rainbow tattoos all over his arms.
He's out there thinking, what are you guys talking about going to and will be and going to have? He's like, I already got all that happening.
No, if he's drinking Bud Light, that's possible.
You know, it's funny you guys mentioned that because today I opened up Google and I started typing in Dylan Precision. You know what that is, Scotsman.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
Well, I got into I'm kind of lazy and I don't been many decades since I was in spelling school, so I cheat, you know. I spell part of the word and, you know, the list pops up. 90% of the time I just click my website out of the list. I start typing in Dylan and it brought up that Bud Light he bitch up there on the screen and I start thinking, oh man, that's kind of screwed. Dylan's blue, Bud Light's blue. Google just threw it in the search real quick, I guess. I was like, oh, that's some shit.
Wrong blue.
But correct me if I'm wrong.
I hope this Dylan is not on the next Dylan calendar, if you know what I mean.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, but those Dylans are spelled totally differently.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Okay, that's crazy. Do you see the one that Joe Biden is trying to pull now? With the he's trying. I don't. Yeah. Let me start over. The Safer Communities Act, the Senate that was just passed in the Senate and everything. He's now trying to defund schools that have archery and hunting safety classes based on that bill, and he's got a bunch of senators writing letter to him saying, no, that's not what this bill says.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yep, my high school, when I was in school back in the late 80s, early 90s, would have been defunded under this law, according to Joe
Damn,
Biden.
you're old.
Well, the way I took it, it wasn't defunding the school. It's just not funding those programs.
No. He wants to defund schools that have those programs. That's what it is. He's wanting to defund the schools that have those programs. At first, that's what I thought too. They're just going to fund those programs, but No, they're actually going to take away the federal funding for any school that has those programs altogether. And if you're wondering why my school, high school, would have been defunded, well, when I was in junior RTC, we had a summer camp program. Ironically enough, through the federal government, because it was on a U.S. Army base, where we went to this camp and we were using full automatic M16A1s on the firing range.
Hey, I'm not paying for that, Rich. All right. If I was gonna pay for it, I'm the one that wants to do the shooting.
Like Gunpowder Beauty's out there in the chat. So is Vanessa Kitty.
Hey, Gunpowder. Hey, Vanessa.
Evening, ma'am. Evening, Gunpowder.
Yeah, I saw that, but the other part about it is what they thought they were thinking. For and foremost, besides the youth training programs or outdoor programs, whatever you want to call them, he was really making sure wasn't none of that funding going to go to training or arming teachers or resource officers or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't
Can't
want
have
that.
that. Can't have that at all to him.
He doesn't want that. He doesn't want kids being taught archery or firearm safety. You know, Jesus Christ, this guy's an idiot. Buck out there in the chat.
Hey, Buck.
Yeah, that was a story I saw today.
What about old Mitch McConnell, like getting stuck in time there for a little bit, like he was stroking out? Did you see that?
I didn't
That
see that.
was creepy.
Yeah, that's scary, man. Yeah, he left us for a little bit, man. And now, of course, the big talk back up is term limits and things. There should be a mental competency, though. I mean, regardless of age, let's not put age into it. There should be a mental competency clause or whatever, and if things change, health changes, it may not even be the person's fault, but if you can't meet the requirements of the job, well then it's a mandatory retirement, or however nice you want to put it.
Well, that's the point of which is his 25th Amendment, I think it was.
Yes.
But with the president, but you don't see anybody exercising that with Biden.
Not yet.
It's because Biden, as idiot as he is the smartest man in the world. Look who the vice president is.
Well, yeah, that's like the old joke back when George H.W. Bush was the president. The reason why he picked Hank Whale was as his vice president was an insurance policy. Anybody came up and said, "Hey, we need to assassinate this guy," looked and saw who the vice president was, like, "No, on second thought."
But yeah, no, Mitch McConnell checking out like that, I was like, ooh.
Still not as bad as Fetterman.
No, like Fetterman, you know what's up with him, right? Mitch McConnell just there. like stopped working. Okay? Yeah. He just it's like his brain shut off and his body was stuck in
he just
time.
Yeah, straight ahead.
His face didn't look right when he first started talking. And his lips, man, he was having like a brain aneurysm or something, man.
Let's be honest, Jason. His battery stopped working.
I was going to say somebody walked up to the robot and flipped off the switch.
Somebody forgot to wind him up. That's what it was. It's like those remember the old wind up robot toys? You wind it up and it would walk across your floor.
Yeah, maybe since it's hot out, the Capitol was air conditioned and his lizard body temperature dropped low and he had to freeze up for a minute.
Yeah, real quick out there in the chat, Woods is out there, and Chris from the 740 is out there as well. So eating in with both of them. And there's Patriot in the dark.
Hey, Patriot. Hey, Chris.
Patriot's always asking for the midget tossing on the wrong show. I tell you.
Midget tossing tomorrow at 8.
No, 7.
7. There you go. You don't even have to wait that long.
I want to toss a midget. That'd be fun.
No, Ghost and Clover aren't here, so we can't. No midget tossing tonight.
I'd like to kick one real good once. I don't know about that.
You evil son of a bitch.
But going back to term limits, part of me understands why people call for them. The other part of me is like, you know, at the end of the day, when Mitch McConnell checks out like that, it should be up to his constituents to get him the hell out.
Yeah, the way I see it with the term limits, it's not going to do a damn thing. If you honestly think San Francisco is going to elect somebody completely the opposite of Nancy Pelosi if she drops over dead? No. Or if she was limited by how many terms she could run?
All right, let me stop. Let me stop you there. Y'all think that we actually vote in the president?
The president's not voted in directly.
I'm going to take your silence as a no, because I think you all understand the president is pre-picked.
You faded out at the end of your question.
Did you guys? What I was saying is, do you think we actually vote in the president?
Yeah.
No, we don't. The president is pre-picked. We don't actually vote in the president. The president's pre-picked. It's our hand-picked. And if you believe otherwise, you're blind to what's going on.
Well, I am blind, but again, if you don't believe that you're
a blind guy.
I say this to everybody that wants to tell me that your votes count for nothing and that everything's predetermined and everything else. If that's the case, that means that you have no representation by our federal government. And if you have no representation, why are you not taking up arms and starting a revolution?
Yeah, more and more I believe what you're saying, Scotsman. Just look at the past presidents we've had, where they came from. I'm not saying for sure anything, I'm just saying it's plausible. There is a high probability that the next several U.S. presidents have already been selected, at least pulled from the pool, so to say.
All right, look, take it this way. Look at this. JFK was eliminated. Why was JFK eliminated? Guns and Barbecue, I'm specifically talking to you. I want to know what you think. Why was JFK eliminated?
Well, it depends on what you want to believe. I mean, nobody can even agree 100% that it was Oswald that pulled the trigger. Okay,
we all know, and it's been thrown out there from the last year or so, that the CIA was involved and so on and so forth, which we already freaking knew. So why was he eliminated?
Again, it depends on what you want to believe, because, again, we can't even definitively say that it was Oswald that pulled the trigger. So until we say for sure, but because then there's the conspiracy of why Oswald was killed, there's all kinds of stuff that goes down a rabbit hole there. I mean, but even still, what's your point here? Was it just to get Johnson in office?
I'm trying to get you to understand that things are hand-picked, things are hand-done. Yes,
well, if that's the case, then why did JFK have to be offed? Because if he was hand-picked...
No, they were hand-picked, and he was off for a reason. He was off because he...
That's my point. If you're going to sit here and say...
Because what people stood for, and he believed in what people stood for. That's why he stood off.
If he was elected president, but he's supposed to be hand-picked, why would they ever pick us? Your argument doesn't make sense on that.
When they put him in office, they didn't understand what he was going to do. And when he came out and said, I'm going to do this.
So you got a conspiracy theory that JFK just went rogue.
No,
it's a conspiracy theory.
He rubbed the establishment the wrong way and tried to...
Let me ask you something else. So what do you believe about Titanic?
Well,
You believe it was just a pure accident and it just magically hit a freaking iceberg?
you're gonna go with the conspiracy theory that it was shot down.
It wasn't shot down. They ran into the iceberg on purpose because the people that were on there were taken out on purpose. They were taken out because they wanted to avoid what we're dealing with now. They wanted to avoid all the BS we're dealing with this one World Bank and this whole system that they're trying to create and make you a peon of this, that, the other. That's why they were taken out, and they were literally taken out. And if you think that
So they knew the iceberg was going to be there.
Hold on, stop. Let me speak.
No, I'm asking you a question.
If you think someone who's commanding that ship has no ability to slow that ship down when they have plenty of observation of what's going on before they hit that iceberg, how does that make any sense?
You ever see a deer in the road at the last second and not be able to, get
do.
stopped or anything?
You do. But it's
and then you hit the deer.
Iceberg,
it happens.
The iceberg is way bigger than a freaking deer.
Yeah. And without any light on it to be able to see it in the darkness.
So you think
how do you just
think it was pure 100% coincidence?
How do you just turn a giant ship?
You think it was pure 100%
They don't turn on a dime.
I'm asking you a question. Do you think it was 100% coincidence?
Again, how do you just turn a giant ship? But what's more probable? That they apparently just knew that iceberg was going to be there and we're going to just kill our entire crew. The captain would have had to known that he was going on a suicide.
About the crew. They were worried about the certain people that were on board.
Like I said, so the captain knew he was going on a suicide mission. The captain kamikazed a fucking iceberg.
Yes, he did.
That's fucking insane.
It's not insane. That's life.
That's 100% insane.
It's not insane. That's
like
life.
I've heard a lot of conspiracy theories. That's the most insane fucking conspiracy theory I've ever heard.
That's literally what happened. He knew he was taking out 3 people that had to be taken out because they didn't want them to live on to do what currently we're living through now.
The greatest vessel ever fucking built.
Yeah.
Was worth sinking because we couldn't just off 3 people in any other way. You're saying 3 people were on the ship, so they're like, you know what, this ship needs to sink, and captain, you're gonna captain the most amazing ship ever built to this point. And sink it to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, no, that's fucking insane. That's what happened.
You ever see that part in Billy Madison where the guy's like, we're all dumber for now listening to that? This is one of those fucking moments.
Dude, I'm fucking telling you. You don't want to listen, that's fine. That's on you, man. But I'm telling you right now, when you look at the things that have happened in history, and you look at what's going on, what we're dealing with right fucking now, and I mean right now, with all the bullshit we're dealing with.
Like what?
It is 110% believable that happened because of all the crap we're dealing with. Literally, these people made this shit on purpose.
Well, no, you just said it's 110% believable.
This has been in design.
There's a difference in it being believable or actually happening. Which is it? Because you said it happened, but then you just said it's 110% believable.
Yes, because of what's going on.
Well, no, because if you're just saying it's believable, that means you have no proof that it's actually happened. You're just saying
on now, man.
It could have happened.
It did happen.
Well, which is it? Because you said it's 110% believable.
There are many, many people standing up and telling you, and there's people that were on the fucking ship that said, hey, this
You're
is
literally the
happened.
first person I've ever heard propose this conspiracy theory.
They are suppressed.
So who else is standing up and telling me this?
It's a conspiracy theory.
Like I said, who else is standing up and telling me this? You're literally the first person I've ever heard fucking propose this. And I watch all kinds of stuff on conspiracy theories.
Okay, well, you're apparently you're not only blind, but you're blind to everything else going on in life. And I'm not trying to be a dick, but seriously, man.
No, I've asked you to tell me exactly what's going on that I'm missing, and you just keep going on about a fucking conspiracy theory from 111 years ago.
There was people on the fucking ship that actually came out and said, "Hey, this is why this would happen." Literally,
yeah, because the people on the ship had privy information. Like,
Are you listening to what you're saying? So there is 3 people on the ship. Then the people that survived one of the greatest shipwreck history then went up and were like, by the way, papers, there were these 3 people on the ship that they apparently wanted to take out. But by the way, there's only a handful of people that were on the ship that knew that they were sailing the ship to their fucking death. But somehow they let us know that this was going to happen. And we managed to survive also. So we could spill the fucking beans. Like, how the fuck does that make any sense?
Dude, you're fucking nuts, man. I'm sorry, but you're fucking nuts. Like,
Yeah,
seriously.
apparently, let's say, because I'm talking with rationale, not fucking...
No, you're not. You're not listening to the facts of what's going on. So.
No, I literally just did. You said that there's 3 people on the ship. You said that the captain knew, along with a couple other people, that they were going to kamikaze an
exactly
iceberg.
What he was doing. The captain knew it was a fucking death mission. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah. So again, you said that there's 3 people on the ship that had to be killed. Okay. You said that the captain knew, along with a couple other people, that they were going to kamikaze in the middle of the night. And then you're saying that the way that everybody knows about this conspiracy theory is the survivors from the sinking of the Titanic. So somehow the captain or one of the other people that knew leaked this information to people that were on the ship. You know, now how many, who knows? But then those people managed to survive and then go and then leak that information out to the press and whoever else. Which story sounds more fucking far-fetched here? If they knew that they were going to kamikaze a fucking iceberg, why the fuck would they leak that out in the first place?
Do me a favor and just go look it up on YouTube. You know, seriously, man. There's all kinds of videos out there that explain it to you.
Yeah, and say, so there's videos about dinosaurs being fake, flat Earth, all kinds of other shit too. Do you believe that?
Well, let me. Since you're on the Titanic, let's move on a little bit. I'll tell you something that I came across, and I believe from the guy who was testifying to this. He's one of the whistleblower guys from the government or whatever. But there's a conspiracy around the finding of the Titanic. Now, like, I remember when they found it in the 80s, and I was I was in between a boy and a teenager, and it was a really big deal, you know what I mean? And, you know, they ended up making TV shows and hyping it up, you know, and drawing in the attention. But the thing before that time period was, you know, the Great Titanic. Biggest ship ever, unsinkable, goes down, never been found, right? Technically, they knew where it was all along. I mean, you know what I mean? They knew where it went down in the water at, and they can figure out how far stuff drifts or whatever. But that whole big story behind that Robert Ballard going out with the research vehicles and made himself all famous that he's the greatest, you know, underwater discoverer since Jacques Cousteau, and all this and that, and he went and did the impossible and he found the Titanic. That's a fucking lie. That is what was put on the news and the TV to distract you. That whole mission to go find that Titanic was a military operation. The CIA and the government had hired him in that research vessel and that special sub, because there's only a few in the world, right? And scientists like rent them all up, you know what I mean? So there's people that have an idea of what you're doing. They used that explorer dude and his fame or whatever to disguise it. And he was really using that equipment in that research vessel. He had like 3 months or something, you know, rented it. They were out going after 2 subs that we had lost, and to do whatever they wanted to do, check them out or whatever, I don't know. They were looking for 2 of our subs that we had lost, you know, and they actually had found them. But see, now Russia doesn't know we're looking for them because we're using the disguise of this dude looking for the Titanic. And after all the hype and everything over the years of Lost Titanic or whatever, he found his 2 subs, did his mission for the government, and from that point, he found that Titanic in 4 days. So, like, the 3-month search and all that for the Titanic, and it finally paid off. That story is a scam. He found that in 4 days.
Well, I
once
doubt
he
they
was
were
given
out in
free
the ocean
time.
for 3 months. And say been calculating for ocean drift, things like that, because that stuff's going to happen. Um, and to say that you could just easily go out and pinpoint that is ludicrous, because I mean you'd have to have which I mean there's ocean data for a very long time, but what's that like at the bottom of the ocean that we don't have data for. So there was, I'm sure there was some math that they were doing to try. And to my knowledge, LiDAR probably was not really a thing then. So it's not like they were scanning the ocean floor with LiDAR to try and find it. So I imagine that saying it was a 3 month thing probably would have been just simply, trying to pinpoint a grid area best to look for it. Then they probably spent 4 days, um, searching, and then went, oh, there it is on day 4. But the cover up for looking for subs, things like that, I could see something like that happening. Like that wouldn't surprise me.
So you can see that happening, but you can't see a captain turning around and going, "Hey, I'm going to crash this because these 3 people need to be taken out."
Yeah. Like how easy would it have been just to off them? Like, are you serious?
I'm serious, dude. Like, how do you not see that?
How? It's fucking insane. It would be easier just to go kidnap them out of their fucking bunk in the middle of the night and throw them overboard.
Okay,
You're going to sink an entire ship with over 2,000 people on it? No. I'm still rolling here. You're going to sink an entire ship with well over 2,000 people on it for 3 people that you could just throw overboard and nobody would ever fucking know? Oh,
Yes.
They must have fallen.
Yes, because look at the fucking shit with JFK. Seriously, they covered that shit up for how many years? And you think they're gonna tell you the truth about a fucking Titanic? Come on, dude. Seriously.
Oh, I guess we're not getting told the truth about the fucking flat Earth. We're not getting told the truth about fucking dinosaurs. There's never been mass extinctions or anything.
They lie to you left, right, and fucking center constantly.
Yeah, I think you should, play devil's advocate about not just these
No,
subjects.
the fucking Titanic one's the most ludicrous.
Forget that subject. Take it and kind of compress every single subject there is into one thought here. And I'll just tell you, since the invention of the modern day TV set in most of the homes in America, from that moment on, I would say a majority of every single thing you have been told or taught is a lie.
The majority?
From the littlest things
Dude,
to
depends on what
the
you're watching.
biggest
So,
things.
Look. All right. So look. Here's a great example. So my brother sent me a message earlier today, and he's like, "Hey, I was talking with Mom earlier, and Mom's having problems with arthritis, this, that, the other, and she's not going to eat tomatoes anymore." And I'm like, "Okay, what the fuck's the problem with tomatoes?" And he's like, "Well, tomatoes cause inflammation." So I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Maybe you should stop eating them too, because I have bad arthritis in my knees and hands and many other limbs and so on and so forth." So I'm like, "All right." So I look it up, and I Google it one way, he Googles it another way, and we both get 2 different answers. So what the fuck do you believe? And
I
this
believe
is
a
the
medical
problem.
professional, not a Google search.
I'm not going to believe a medical professional either, because they're full of shit. They lie to you constantly. They're
So
not
again,
in it
if
for-
the
they're
entire world-
there's no such thing as healthcare. Healthcare is bullshit. Healthcare is something that they designed in order to take money from you. Nothing more, nothing less.
Well, yeah, if
There's
you're
no
going to
such
ask
actual
for a service,
thing as
you should have
healthcare.
to pay for that
If-
service.
If
I-
healthcare was an actual thing that they actually gave a flying fuck about you, then yes, it would be called healthcare, and they would take care of you, and it wouldn't cost you a dime because they care about you, but they don't fucking care about you. They care about money in their pockets. That's why it's called healthcare, because they don't fucking care. They take from you and they take from you, and you have any
So
that take from you and take from
those
because they don't
YouTube videos
fucking
on
care
like the
about you.
Titanic or the YouTube videos about JFK or anything like that, they're not making any money.
Dude, they're making all kinds of fucking money. That's why
That's my
we're all
point.
broke.
So how do you know they're not lying to you? Because if you're saying that they're lying to you because they're making money, they're scared about getting money, you're telling me that these conspiracy theory videos aren't doing the same fucking thing?
Are you fucking serious right now? Like, do you hear yourself speak?
No, I 100% hear myself. And you don't like that.
No, it's not that I don't like it. I'm just I'm blown away by what you're saying because you don't seem to understand the fact of what actually is going on around you.
I'm 100% aware of what's going on around me. You want to believe conspiracy theories that are absolutely ludicrous. And I understand there are some questionable shit behind JFK. I'm not saying there's not. But you're also saying that every president's handpicked, which then when I say, well, if that's the case, did JFK have to be off? Which you're like, oh, well, he went rogue. Which, now you're going into a conspiracy theory inside of conspiracy theory. So...
Well, dude,
where does it? Where do they stop at that point?
All right. How is that a conspiracy? How is that a conspiracy theory inside a conspiracy? Look at the current one that's trying to get.
Well, because you're saying that the conspiracy. No. You asked a question. You said, "How is that a conspiracy?" So I'm going to tell you. See, is that you said that all the presidents are handpicked. You don't have a say in it. So, like I said, if that's the case, that means JFK was handpicked. So then you've got the killing of JFK, which is a conspiracy theory in itself. But because he would have been handpicked, that's a conspiracy theory inside a conspiracy theory.
Well, look at it this way. Compare Kennedy to our modern times and compare him to Trump. Every president has fell in line and not rocked the ship from Kennedy to Trump. Kennedy did it, they got rid of him. Trump did it, look what they've done. They've done everything they can to kill the man politically.
Well,
morally.
What about Reagan?
In your divide the nation in half to get rid of him, and every single thing against the man is a lie.
What about Reagan?
Well, my point to this, and I'm going to run off of what Jay's talking about. And
Nixon embarrassed the powers that be.
Jason's right on the fucking money, because take a look at Kennedy today. They're trying to silence Kennedy. They're literally going and saying, we're going to censor you, when we're not supposed to censor anybody. So what are you going to say to that? Because that's not fucking right. You can't censor someone who is running for president, but they're going to censor him anyway.
Oh, they can't, but they do. That's a problem in itself. But I'm not ready to move off the previous topic of, them just taking presidents out when they feel like it because of what reason. Like I said, what about Reagan? Somebody tried to assassinate Reagan. Rich brought up Nixon. And you can say that, Nixon just embarrassed the establishment.
They're shutting them down via this, that, the other. They're shutting them down.
Shutting who down?
It's another way of taking them out.
I'm not talking about Trump right now. Again,
I'm not talking about Trump. I'm talking about...
Well, I was talking, and then you started talking, and I didn't hear what you said, so...
Talking about Kennedy. They're trying to take Kennedy out.
I'm not talking about Kennedy. Like I said, I'm trying to go back to what Jason said first about Reagan, more so Nick. I don't think he said much about the attempted assassination of Reagan, but he did mention that Nixon embarrassed the establishment. But I'm sorry, but if they have the power to rig everything and just handpick every president and everything else, they could have just swept Watergate under the rug.
You don't think it was?
Then why do they have to remove Nixon?
Dude, well...
The whistleblower. It was all hushed.
They couldn't make the whistle...
How much?
Like, come on. You guys are into conspiracy theories. Let's go down the fucking rabbit hole. If you're going to sit there and say all this stuff, then why can't they make the whistleblower disappear? Why can't they sweep Watergate under the rug? Why do they got to get rid of Nixon?
Yeah, all they had to do was wait less than 2 years, and Nixon would have been out of office anyway. Wow, got quiet in here.
Way to go, Rich. You talked and you ruined everything.
I know, right?
It's one giant fucking game, and this is what so many don't understand. It's a giant fucking game, and we're not in control. They say we the fucking people, but we're not in control. We're not. And that's what people got to wake up and fucking realize. We're not fucking in control. We never have been. We never fucking will be unless we step up and do something. Which 95% of people, which 95% of people are not willing to fucking do because they're all sheep and happy to sit there and live their lives.
Like I said, why haven't you?
I'm willing to do it.
Why haven't you, though? I'm not saying.
I'm right here. I'm right here, dude. Where's everyone else? Everyone else is sitting on the sidelines.
Why do you got to wait for everybody else?
Because you need to understand, and this is where people fail to understand this thing, and it's a good thing.
I mean, you can sit there and pass the buck and say, oh, well, I'm waiting on other people, or if you truly believe the things that you're saying, you are.
I'm not passing the buck.
You said, where's everybody else? That's passing the buck.
It's not passing the buck.
That's 100% passing the buck because you're waiting on everybody else.
No, you got to understand. If people don't stand together with someone else, me stepping up and walking out there and saying, hey, I'm going to do this, does nothing.
So you're the only person that believes what you believe?
I'm not saying that, but the people that believe what I believe.
So if there's plenty of people that believe what you believe, then why aren't you all standing up together and doing something?
Sitting on the fucking sidelines.
You realize that the American by 3% of the population, right?
So your mic broke up.
So if you're saying that 90, who me? I said that I asked if he realized that the American Revolution was only fought by 3% of the population, which means that if 95% of the people are just sheep, that means there's actually percentage-wise more of you than what would have been in the American Revolution fighting. So again, what are you guys waiting for?
So why are they not all stepping up and coming together?
Because apparently you guys are waiting for the other 95% from what you said. You said, where's everybody else?
So what are you waiting for?
Because I don't believe these fucking crackpot conspiracy theories that you're fucking preaching.
Okay, whatever, dude. I'm sorry, man. I love you to death, I do, but you're fucking insane.
I'm sorry, but if you don't believe that we have representation within our ability to petition our government, if everything is stacked against you, then why the fuck aren't people, doing something? And I realize what you're saying. Majority of people are just, comfortable going through the motions, things like that. I get it. But again, if you're saying that that's 95% of the population, well, there's still 5% of you that feel the way you do. And
correct,
again, that's more than what fought in the American Revolution.
You ain't doing nothing either, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Because I don't see things the way you do.
Well, it's like this, man. All of us, we're good Americans, and we believe in America. But there's a war going on that we see it, but we're not doing anything because we're good Americans and we're law-abiding people. But
or
this
is
country
it because,
is getting
sorry,
to
Jason,
a point. This country is getting to a point. The reason is that why isn't people standing up and doing things? Because it's getting to a point to when action is taken. Us proud Americans to save this country are going to have to do a lot of things that are un-American. And
like
the
what?
Majority of us haven't been took to that point. We fear that point. We see that point coming and we fear it. But to save this country from the communists, the socialists, the powers that be, the rest of the world's communist influence on us, we are going to have to do things that are un-American.
Like what?
And from that point on, win or lose, probably worse if we did win. We don't have the people and a new set of founding fathers. We don't have the ability nowadays to like rewrite this country and fix all of its wrongs. That's just not gonna happen, man. So this country, sooner or later, this nation is going to crumble and fall, just like every other nation on this planet. And it's just a matter of time.
So, Jason, I got a question for you. What are the un-American things that you're speaking of that would have to be done?
We'd have to rise up against.
That might be the most American thing out there.
Yeah, but like you can't rise up and be effective obeying some things called laws on a piece of paper.
There is actually a thing called civil disobedience. And say again, that's kind of an American thing. Like, if a law is unjust, you're kind of supposed to.
That's what.
Yeah, but our
American
enemy is not an easily identified target as as a government official or a badge or a building. There's everything in our lives. There's the social media companies, the propaganda companies, and foremost, this country's becoming divided. There's no way this civilization of ours will survive when it suddenly becomes like not only is our enemy the people in a capital somewhere, our enemy is also our neighbors who support those people in the capital.
We can't be more divided than we are. The country's pretty much 50-50. So, I mean, you can't have much more of a divide unless you're talking about just from the ideologies that you value compared to the ideologies that they value, where maybe that number swings to 40-60 and 30-70, et cetera, then yeah, you could be more divided. But then at that point, it would be a trouncing. But if you're talking about division, because at one point then something becomes a majority and that becomes more of a unity at that point. But if you're talking about a division, being 50-50 is about the most you can be divided at that point.
All right, so let me put it this way. When I came here and I did everything the correct way, and it took many years, I swore an oath to the Constitution. I didn't swear an oath to government.
Mm-hmm.
I swore an oath to the Constitution and what the Constitution stands for. And this is what a lot of people seem to fail to understand. It's not a swearing to the flag. It's not a swearing to this, that, the other. I swore to the Constitution. And that's what my oath is to. And it's to what this country is supposed to stand for. And so many people fail in that respect. And they fail in that respect because they think that it's many other things and not just what the Constitution says. Well, the Constitution is the law of the land. So you got to take it for what it's meant for, and stop taking it and putting it to other things that don't actually represent what this country is meant to represent. And that's a big part of the problem, is everyone turns around and goes, well, this, that, the other, when it's not part of what it actually is supposed to stand for.
I might not be following you right here, but I'm just wondering how that ties into, presidents are handpicked and JFK and Titanics and things like that. Like, I understood what Jason was arguing, about, one day, might have to rise up, have a revolution, because that spun off of what we were talking about, since the belief is there that all the presidents are handpicked, and I said, well, then rise up if you don't have representation. So like what your point there was and how it tied. Like, I shouldn't say I don't understand your point. Like, I understand the point you were making. I just don't understand how it ties into the topic at hand that we were discussing with handpicked presidents and whatnot.
It ties in because people are arguing about what is law and what's not law. And
Well, that has nothing to do with handpicked presidents because it'd be illegal. I don't hear anybody arguing about that. That's not what we're arguing about. We're arguing about the conspiracy theory that all presidents are handpicked. We don't have a say. That's not about arguing about what's law or what's not.
You think we voted for George Bush?
I was a little young then. I don't know how
you
that
really
went.
think that the current president had 70% of the fucking vote? Like, seriously, come on, dude.
And it was almost 50-50. He narrowly won.
George Bush. I now forgive me. I'm a poor American. I get dad and son mixed up. The H's and the W's and that. But the George Bush who beat Al Gore, the son, the youngest Bush here, I guess.
Yeah.
That was like the election of like 2000, right?
Yes.
And no one had ever heard of George Bush, really. He was governor of Texas or something. But like, it ain't like he'd ran for president 2 or 3 times and we were familiar with him, right? What would you say if in the late 90s, George Bush was brought up in one of the big meeting houses in front of the crowd at that Bohemian Club in California and was introduced to everyone as the next president of the United States?
That wouldn't all. I mean, things like that happen all the time when you're gonna make a run or anything like that.
No. This isn't like in a banquet room getting donations or anything and like, hey, let's clap our hands at what we're just calling the next president because he's going to run and we're being hopeful. This is standing up in front of the truly elite, the powers that be that run this planet, not just this country, that has nothing to do with votes, has nothing to do with anything but power and money. And he was stood up to not just like the place, but the big room at the place, and was introduced to everyone as our next president.
Video of that? Or is that just somebody that happened to be there decided to say that? I'm just curious.
I've heard that from many people. I've heard that for years, even back when he was the president.
But that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking.
I know.
Like,
I don't have proof to go in front of Congress, but that Bohemian Club controls and runs everything, dude.
You say because I've never even heard of the Bohemian Club. So
it was the same fucking thing with Obama. Go back and listen to Obama. Same shit.
you say
a senator that didn't show up. That
man. It's literally right in front of your fucking face.
No, because again, you guys aren't providing any proof. And I'm challenging that, and then you're like, "Oh, it's right in front of your face." No.
Look, man, it ain't about.
Don't tell me no when you're not even willing to do a basic fucking search.
Yeah, everything is.
You can search anything on the internet.
Our decisions.
All right, hold on, because I'm gonna debunk that idea. Let's do a search. Let's see how many genders are on the internet right now. And then if I come back with it saying like 87, you gonna accept that there's 87 genders there, Scotsman? Or are you going to say that there's 2?
You either have the schlong or you don't.
Oh, but the internet says all you got to do is a basic search.
No, that's not.
Whoa!
You're taking.
You can't have it both ways. If you're saying all you got to do is a basic search and what the internet says is gospel.
Well, don't do a search. Don't do the basic. What's the first page say?
Hold up.
Go research.
Jason, hold up. It's not Barbecue's job to do the search. You guys are making the claim. It is your job to back up your claim, not Barbecue's to back up your claim for you. Barbecue doesn't have to do a damn search to prove your points. You do.
I can't prove a negative.
Exactly.
It's like people that want to sit there and say, "Oh, open carry is so bad because you're going to be the first to die." You fucking show me evidence. There's a couple situations where you can be like, "Oh, this person was disarmed," which half the time when you check those out, the person that was disarmed wasn't even carrying a fucking holster. And then a couple other times, you know, a really shitty one. And the idea that, oh, you'll be the first to die, that's a bunch of bullshit. And then you'll have people that are, you know, train and concealed carry and appendix and all this happy horse shit, blah, blah, blah. And if you say anything about open carry, that's the first thing they fucking say. You'll be the first to die. You're an idiot. But then when you ask them to prove it, go look it up. I don't have to prove your fucking point. You fucking prove it to me. Because there's no statistics out there to fucking prove that. Because it, you know, maybe once or twice, but that's so hard to friggin' find. And like, I understand what you guys are saying. I have no problem with that. I'm just saying, you know, like like I said, I've never even heard of the Bohemian Club, Jason. So
it's the Bohemian Grove. Check that out.
And say like that, I'll check out because that's probably something that could come up. But and what I was pointing to more is just Scott's been saying, you know, go do a search. Well, like I said, if I go search, you know, how many genders are there, and it's like 133, does that mean there's 133 genders? No, it just fucking means that somebody put something on the internet. I mean, shit, go to Wikipedia. You can change shit in it right now. I could Wikipedia page and say he's going to be the next president. Rich, we're going to do that and make sure you get fucking being the next president. It's going to be fucking awesome.
Man, don't even get me started on Wikipedia.
Unloaded POTUS.
I just went on and did a little search and came up about George Bush, and it's just saying he's in a long list from the thing, but every single Republican president we've ever had since Herbert Hoover has been a member of the Bohemian Grove.
Yeah, I believe there is also another one that says I think every one of them has been a member of a stonemason. Yeah, Freemason, excuse me, thank you. Fucking spaced out there. Freemason. I mean, there's all kinds of shit. I just heard one the other day that every president can be traced back to some king in England in, I think, medieval times or some shit. Which, I mean, we could trace every president back to Genghis Khan, along with like 10% of the fucking world's population.
Shit, you could trace half of the Senate back to Native Americans, too.
Well, at least Pocahontas.
Yeah, Pocahontas.
But from how I take what the Bohemian Grove is, Bohemian Grove is a private piece of land. It's in California, and like the press can't get in, but they check out the outsides. And every year they have a big meeting, and like every powerful person in the fucking world shows up here. There's like thousands of private jets that take over the local airports. Everybody's ushered up there in secrecy and has big meetings. The press isn't allowed in. You're not allowed to photograph cars coming and going. It's got the world's greatest security there, like no reporters. It doesn't get reported on. There's not pictures. There's not cameras. There's not drones. There's none of that. It is a secret society having their big annual meeting, and they don't like nosy eyes. But over the years, there have been whistleblowers that kind of report a little bit what's going on inside, just kind of like rituals and stuff. They're not ever really given any details. But it is a thing. It's a thing that happens in meets. Now, you tell me what's going on when not only like rich people that are powerful that we know of, but thousands of super rich, powerful people in the energy industry and every kind of other industry, when they have a super private ass meeting and it's a fraternity, a brotherhood just for them, you can't know anything, you can't ask questions, you can't interview, you can't do anything. That's an awful lot of important people getting together making decisions. And I don't know, I thought when more than one person gets together and they talk about things that supersede the government and our way of life, I thought there was laws against that, but I guess I'm wrong.
I guess it depends on exactly what they're talking about, but then you have to gain access to that, things like that. And what are they talking about? Your guess is as good as mine, obviously.
I'll tell you what they talk about. They talk about things like, let's try this flu deal. Let's get rid of everybody's rights. They have to believe us. Let's control everything. We didn't like the Trump dude. Let's make sure that there's not one bit of news, TV show, or nothing that even addresses him as being a human being for the next couple of years, so we won't have to deal with him again.
But if they didn't like Trump, why did they hand select him? Because I'm sorry, but what Trump was running on was very apparent. So if he was hand selected,
well, we're not saying he's hand selected, but
no.
They just said I just went to Google to pull up my point, and it states at the Bohemian Grove, every Republican president there's ever been has been a member of that. Well, since Herbert Hoover or somebody like that, or whoever it was. Not saying like Trump was handpicked. I said there's like a pool. I believe in the beginning of this, I said there's a pool of people.
No, I was going off of what Scotsman said earlier.
So that's just how it is. I'm not saying like the world handpicked him, but he was put up there, and I know somebody that's cried for years it was stolen from us. So from her, I mean, so maybe there was some funny stuff with that election. Maybe Hillary was supposed to win, and the powers that be said, "Oh fuck that, we can't have Hillary. Trump's better than Hillary." And then Trump gets in there and he wants to do things the right way. Well, we can't have that. Okay, after all the abominations of what has done to our society and life through 8 years of the Obamas, here comes a Republican president, and by damn, we got the fucking House and fucking everything with this one. Fuck Obamacare, all that. No, let's hit the brakes. Mr. Tim Ryan, you're not going to like your fellow Republican, and he's not going to have the luxury and the power afforded by having control of Congress or, his party. So Trump's first 2 years was shot to shit by not even having cooperation within his own party. And then what happened the last 2 years when the Democrats took back over the House? It was Russia, impeachment city, phone calls for fucking hell. That's still happening. So like Trump was assassinated, not physically. He's politically assassinated. Just like the last person who tried to do things on his own.
But so, going back to the very beginning of this, like I said, Scotsman said that every president's handpicked. We don't have a say in it. And what you're saying then is if Hillary was actually supposed to win that election, that means the people had a say in it, and we came out and we swung the election to have Trump elected, which discredits conspiracy theory. Moving on from that, let's say he was hand selected. You'd have to go into a conspiracy theory of why did they choose somebody that was going to be so polarizing and so combative with the establishment. Why did they select Trump to be the president, knowing that he was going to have so much inner turmoil within the Republican Party, that there was going to be so much opposition? Or was that just as well? Because at the end of the day, if you're going to say that, and I'm not saying you specifically, Jason, just going on that conspiracy theory that all presidents are handpicked, that means, if the Congress is against them, even if it's in their own party, that's all pre-planned as well.
Well, the Bohemian Grove Club, that's only Republicans.
Well, and going back on that too, because I actually wanted to so Trump's a member of the Bohemian Grove Club.
I would assume that counts him when it says they've had every Republican president since Herbert Hoover as a member.
Okay. Because my thing is like introducing George Bush as the next president of the United States. That I understand, but it still doesn't really ruffle my feathers because he was a sitting governor, the father of a former president. To introduce him that way, it doesn't do anything for me. Now, let's say Obama was a Republican and Obama got introduced that way. That would be a different thing because he had no other ties to the father that was already president and had been a senator, all that happy horse shit, et cetera, et cetera. He was never a governor or anything. He just kind of popped in. So if like Obama had been introduced to something that way, such as the Bohemian Grove Club, that I could get a little bit more on board with, but sitting governor.
Obama came from a different organization. He come from the Marxist people.
But do you understand my point? A sitting governor, son of a former president / let's say the first Bush, he was a senator at one point, right? Or was it congressman? I don't remember 100%. But either way.
George H.W. Bush, he was a former congressman, former director of CIA, former vice president, and a couple other things.
Yeah, he is all kinds of shit. So, like, introducing his... It like I said, it just doesn't do a lot for me because it, in a sense, it's just like, oh, this is almost a given. Like, look at his dad's track record. He's going to be able to ride on his dad's coattails. This is going to be next president one day.
Yeah, but going back to Obama's sketchy
Yeah.
for a couple of reasons. Namely, he was a community organizer who ran for Congress, didn't do shit in Congress, ran for Senate, didn't do shit in the Senate, and then ran for president all within a 4-year period.
Well, but that's because, in a sense, Scotsman is right on the fact that all presidents are handpicked. Because each convention, Republican and
they don't even
Democrat, pick who they want to run.
Right.
Really.
And here's what people don't get. They think there's a constitutional right for a primary election. There's not. The primaries are run by the political party. You do not. There is.
That's
no
why you don't get to vote on them.
Or
if you're independent.
Yeah, there's no law. Well, some states you do. There's no law. There's nothing in the Constitution about primaries. Primaries are run by the party to choose their representative who they want to run for president.
Yep.
So,
and
they don't even have to hold a primary. Back when John McCain won the nomination, they changed West Virginia from a primary to a caucus because Mitt Romney was going to win the state of West Virginia, and they didn't want that. So they changed the format to being a caucus convention so that they could better guarantee that their guy was going to win the state of West Virginia in the primary.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, going back to Hillary, Bernie was handling Hillary, and the Dems didn't like that. And I mean, hell, he got beat in friggin' Vermont, his home state. And he had that going into the polls looking like a landslide, and then all of a sudden Hillary just happened to win. You're like, what the frick?
There's more to it in the Democratic Party too, because they have what they call super delegates who vote for whoever the hell they want, and they carry more weight than the general public does.
Yes. So, like I said, Scotsman in a sense is right, because at the end of the day, whatever two assholes you're voting for, we're handpicked, but then I still believe we have a say, because then if you go off of what Jason was saying earlier, maybe Hillary was supposed to win and she's crying, hey, this was stolen from me. Well, maybe that's just because, we have a voice and we were able to say, no, this is who we want. I mean, hell, I wasn't the biggest fan of Trump, but there's no fucking way I was voting for fucking Hillary. But I also live in Pennsylvania, and that's a battleground state. We can just as easily flip blue as we do red, and vice versa, and everything else. We get labeled as a blue state because our fucking governor is always blue, because friggin' Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. But
yeah, Tom Ridge was the last Republican governor, wasn't he?
No, Ed Rendell.
Oh yeah, I forgot Ed Rendell. Okay, well, that was around the same time period.
Yeah, well, I think it went Tom Ridge, then we had a Democrat, then we had Ed Rendell.
It was what, Ridge, then Casey?
I don't remember. Ridge and that dipshit. Well, whoever came after Ridge is really before my time. Let's say I actually was in the inauguration parade for Ed Rendell. So, but that was, I want to say, 02,
yeah,
03,
it was
something like that. Yeah. But so, and Ed Rendell did his 8 years, because we ended up having Wolf, and then after Wolf we got fucking Shapiro. Oh God, just like threw up in my mouth a little bit. Sorry. But yeah. Because I'm all for people voting for third party. Like, if you're in a state where it's going to be a landslide, not going to be close, vote for that friggin' third party if both candidates suck. If you're like really, we'll use Hillary and Trump just for, simplicity's sake. Like, if you're really pro Trump, fucking vote for Trump still. And if you're fucking pro Hillary, like, I guess vote for her too. But if you're one of those people that's like, man, both of these fucking suck, and you live in like California, fucking vote for the third party. What's it gonna hurt? But like I said, I live in PA, and unfortunately, our elections can be very important. Where I'm like, man, I would really like to vote for the third party, but I want to vote for somebody and make sure that whoever wins this is who's gonna have my best interest. So, friggin', I mean, hell, when Trump was against
Dr. Oz, even if you didn't like her.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. I'm not even convinced of that one.
It's I know you gotta hate Oz, and he's for what you dislike about him. It's a good thing to dislike about him, but at least he's functioning and cognitive. He could be, his opinions you don't like still have the possibility of being changed.
Oz, I think,
you don't have that with Fetterman.
I think Oz was going to be just a direct replacement of Toomey, because people are like, oh, Pat Toomey, he's got the R next to his name. He's a fucking asshole. I couldn't stand Pat Toomey, especially after the Toomey Mansion bill. And the way I looked at Oz, I was like, all right, well, he's better than friggin' Fetterman. And looking at Toomey and Oz 95. And like the way they both stood on guns is like, well, I don't think he can get much worse than Toomey. So
95.
Oz would have been Oz would have been to the left of Toomey, just from things that he's said in the past on various topics.
Well, yeah, if you look at the stuff that he said on his show, but I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt on there, just because it was on a big network, things like that. There might have been some lines that he had to toe, and while I don't like that, because that means he's selling out his values for, I understand, I don't like it, but money fucking talks. But you know what, if if you go off of what he was saying during his political run. I was like, at least going off of that stuff, I thought he was gonna hopefully just be equal to Toomey. But I also knew like he could end up being a lot worse. But like I said, I don't think he was gonna be at Fetterman at the end of the day, as far as gun rights and things like that are concerned.
Yeah, I went full Monty Brewster on Twitter when it came to the Pennsylvania Senate election.
Oh, it was fucking
None
disgusting.
of the above. None of the above, Pennsylvania.
Then let's say, because I mean, if really you want to say that they rigged stuff, you look at the friggin' race here in Pennsylvania. They put fucking Doug Mastriano up against Shapiro. Shapiro has been handpicked for all kinds of shit forever, and this is one of those things. Going back to what Jason was saying about Bush, if I remember correctly, there's been a couple things where Shapiro was introduced as the next governor of Pennsylvania. Shapiro knows how to play politics. Republicans wanted him in as bad as Democrats did. That's disgusting to say, and I'm being dead serious about this. And like, if I have to go back and look shit up for people, I will. There's politicians in Montgomery County that have talked about this. But yeah, the Republican establishment wanted Shapiro as bad as the Democrats did, and that's part of the reason they put up Mastriano, because it made it look like they're trying to put up a fight, but there was no way Mastriano was going to fucking beat Shapiro.
All Shapiro had to do was win Philly, Erie, and Pittsburgh, and it was in the bag.
Pretty
and that's
much
exactly what happened. I know when we were driving back and forth between here and Pittsburgh, you didn't see any Shapiro signs until you got to Pittsburgh. Between the Pennsylvania border and Pittsburgh, it was all Mastriano signs.
Mm-hmm. Same way up here. I mean, I wouldn't insert blind jokes where you please, but I wouldn't see any Shapiro signs. Like, if I saw signs along the road, it was Mastriano. Now, maybe it was easier to pick out the Mastriano signs because M is very distinctive, things like that. But I feel like the S would be pretty or the SH should be pretty distinctive on a Shapiro sign. But yeah, friggin'.
Well, I take that back. There was one Shapiro sign, but there was a 4-letter word in front of it that started with an F and ended with a
That's the same. Oh, go ahead, Jason. Sorry.
They got some kind of low down stuff going on here this year. We got a special election here in 2 weeks. Got only one issue on it. They're trying to sneak something in. Every commercial on TV, every road sign that you see going down the road, like, the road signs all look very similar too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you were just talking about signs for people. Like you knew what a Biden sign looked like and a Trump sign long before you got to the letters, right? Now, these signs look identical now around here. One of them says, vote no on issue 1 to protect our Constitution. The next sign says, vote yes on issue 1 to protect our Constitution. The commercials on TV, that's the slogan of both competing sides of this. Vote their way to protect the Constitution. It's misleading as hell all the way across the board. They're just trying to sneak it in and confuse us.
And one of the biggest things of what's going on with this special election is you see more of the pushing no than the pushing yes. And they're trying to tell you that it means this versus this instead of telling you exactly what it means. So unless you actually go look up and see exactly what the verbiage is of what's going on in that bill, you're not going to know.
Now, you pretty much, we got to look at who is supporting this bill. Like you're saying, who's saying yes and who is saying no.
Like I've had people email me and ask me to get various people on the show to talk about issue 1 and what's going on. And I've tried, but I got no responses. And that's on them, whatever, no big deal. But when you got people reaching out and saying, hey, this is a huge deal for us, and I live here in the state, so it's a huge deal for me, trying to figure out what's going on, I get it. And it'd be nice if these companies actually responded and said, hey, yeah, I'd love to come on the show and talk about what's going on and this, that, the other, but they don't.
So for those of us who don't live in Ohio, what is the issue at hand here?
They want to change the Constitution on the rules it takes to amend it. As it sits today, it is basically it's a 50 plus 1 vote for the majority. So you need 51 votes to put in a change. They're wanting to change that to where you need 60 votes.
I like that.
Well, and the issue at hand is simply that right now we are Republican controlled, and they're freaking out because they think that everything's going to happen because we're in control. So that's why they're freaking out, because they think that as soon as this passes that we're going to get all this stuff through because we control the House and so on and so forth.
But
Well, I read a quote, a statement or whatever from I can't exactly say exactly who it was, but it was somebody that's like one of our state representatives, right? And they gave a quick little, it's just a snippet in an article what their response to it says. And from what I took at it is that doing this early on a special election, because if somehow they know what's coming in the future, they're going to bring up a thing for abortion in Ohio. And whatever they come up with for the abortion issue is going to be written into the Constitution. I don't know which way it is. Is it pro-abortion? Is it pro-life? I don't know. But there is going to be an abortion issue coming up. And this thing happening here with the amount of votes it takes to change the Constitution is a direct thing to try to stop whatever the abortion issue is that's coming up. But I do not know if it's a pro-life bill, a pro-abortion bill, or what. But I know the reason they're having this special thing is to deal with that issue at a later date.
so
So one side wants it to be easier to get accomplished. One side doesn't want it to be as easy to get accomplished. But I do not know what the accomplishment is. It could be a pro-life bill, and the Democrats are trying to block it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It most likely is a pro-abortion bill, and the Republicans are trying to block it.
so
That's
who's
my
trying?
feeling, but you don't know what it is. But the reason they had this special election, because we're going to have normal election stuff in November. They are bringing this one up, both sides. Hopefully the results of this will help dictate something in the future. Whether it's good or bad, I don't know. But that's the
Well,
reasoning behind this special
part-
election.
Part of the problem with it is so many don't know about it, and they did this on purpose because they don't want you to know about it.
So I got a question for you guys real quick. You said that there's a bill to amend your constitution to require a 60% majority to then make any amendments to your state constitution, correct?
which
out of 60
which
out of
party-
how many? About,
well, I thought
Well-
he said there's 100.
Yeah,
well,
it's
that's less than what you need to amend the U.S. Constitution.
it's 50 plus 1, I guess is how it's written.
So
Then-
you need a simple majority to amend the Ohio
Yeah.
Constitution. That's
Yeah, ever since it's been that way. I don't know how it was before, but I also saw in the articles it's been that way since like 1912.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just disgusting.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's
God,
silly.
conspiracy. They did that in 1912. That's when the Titanic sank. An asshole, I know.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, in my thoughts too, I thought it should be a little tougher than that.
Yeah,
to
it
change
should
the
be tougher to
Constitution.
change. Yeah, it should
Yeah.
be.
But on the other hand, other stuff happens too. That's good too.
I
Like
mean, what's the point in having
I'm
a constitution and a separate set of laws from the Constitution if it's just as easy to change the Constitution as it is the other laws?
ask a question. Is it remotely possible that you got that backwards, Jason? Just because
nope.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure.
No, they're not
Um,
trying to make it easier.
So
like,
which
like it
party-
was 60 and they want to go to 51. They're not. They're
Okay.
not trying to do that. It's at the easy point now, and the new thing will make it harder. But like I said, both sides cry. Like the one side, they're trying to take away majority rule in Ohio. Well, no, they're just trying to make it a little more majority rule.
Aren't you guys on the
But
verge
then
of a
they come
supermajority
back-
anyways?
Then they come back and the Democrats have said, well, it is taking away our majority rule because now it only takes 40% of the votes to block something from happening. As before, it would have took 51. Now it only takes 40% to stop something. So it's a bunch of
Well, if it
political wording.
if it only takes 40% to block it, because you need 60% to pass it. If it only takes 40% to block it, what are they complaining about?
Yeah.
Well, that's what the change would be.
So,
Yeah,
so it's
exactly.
Democrats that are against the change.
I'm pretty sure, yes.
Then I would imagine that
Well, yeah, of course they are.
bill
Oh,
coming
yeah.
up that you're talking about for abortion was probably a
Well, don't forget it's been
pro-abortion bill.
Yeah, and don't forget, it's been proposed in the U.S. House of Representatives by certain members of a certain caucus that they need to change the Constitution to make it a simple majority to amend the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah, that just disgusts me.
Now, see, on
The
on
idea
the
of
surface,
anything.
Oh, well,
a
I was just
simple
saying, on the
majority.
surface, this thing makes me feel better with having the super majority to change anything, because we all know, like Scotsman knows here in Ohio, it's Republican dominated, right? But that might not always be the case, or the numbers might not be as far apart as they are now. But there's a lot of issues, abortion could be one, where like you could get people to flip their vote. You see what I'm saying? So you might not have to be the majority party in control to get votes on an issue to change the Constitution when you only need 50 plus 1. It'd just be a little harder for that to happen if it was 60 needed. But see, I'm all for that. I'm all for the principle of, yeah, I'm surprised it is just a simple majority to change our Constitution. But on the other hand, I don't know what's the fine print written down in there. What else happens if you vote that way? You know what I mean? They're so sneaky about putting stuff in there.
Real quick, I want to take a quick break to mention people have jumped in since we really got, I should say, since you guys got into the heavy discussion and I just tried moderating it a little bit. We've had Thorzax jump in, so evening to you. Defense Dad just jumped in. Ozzy is out there. Pacifist, formerly known as the Gun Toting Pacifist. That's now Pacifist Productions. And I think that's everybody we've missed saying hello to. Oh, Keith Gregory's out there. Didn't mention Keith yet. So evening to all of you folks that jumped in late.
All right, man. Everything we've talked about, everything we've done, that was just getting us warmed up, man. That was just your pre-workout workout right there.
That's right.
Man.
Now we're gonna make fun
Yeah,
of Rich
we're just
White's
getting ready for
hockey
the
injury.
first round. Game's getting ready to kick off. Because let me ask you about this. Did anybody pay any attention and notice, and especially the last week and the last 2 weeks, and it happened a few times in the last couple of years, but did you notice this week what happened in Washington? That they've just come out and told you that aliens is real and alien technology is real and that we have it and we've had it forever and now we know and nobody's even blinked an eye.
That's it. What kind of amuses me on that one, Jason, is the fact that now people are paying attention to it. The government said something, but there was the Israeli defense minister, maybe, I don't remember 100%, but it was a high-ranking official in the Israeli military. It was like, oh yeah, aliens are real, like 100%. Russia's actually said, yeah, they're real. We've got alien crafts, blah blah blah. There's been other world governments that are like, yeah, this shit's real. There's something fucking, and then our government's finally like, hey, yeah, this shit might actually be happening. Which, I mean, if you look into Operation Blue Book, things like that, the guy that was heading that, he's become a whistleblower of sorts, which, you know, like a lot of the whistleblowers, they try and label him as a crackpot, shit like that. But when you have fighter pilots and commercial pilots, and which a lot of fighter pilots, things like that, but and not just ones that were from, you know, the United States, but like there was a really, really well documented incident involving Japanese commercial pilots, I think over Alaska, if I remember correctly. I mean, there's all kinds of shit. It just amuses me that once our government was finally like, yeah, we're going to have these hearings on this, which I'm like, what the fuck are they trying to distract us from now?
You know what? I'll believe it when we see Chewbacca and Jar Jar Binks subpoenaed and having to testify before Congress.
Well, man, we'll look at it like this, Rich. Rich, you believe in God?
Yeah.
God's an alien, buddy.
Mhm.
He wasn't. He didn't come from this earth.
It's more complicated than that.
Well, let's just think.
I was
And,
making
like,
a joke anyway,
I
Jason.
know, but people been seeing, like, it's only us modern people. It's only this 1900s of people that the news tells you flying saucers and little green men and men from Mars, and it's all made up and don't believe it. It's only this modern day that exists. For the other thousands and thousands of years, people used to worship the aliens that came here. They built civilizations all over this planet. And after they had been gone for another 1,000 or some years, people seen shit in the sky every day, all the time, and like didn't freak out, didn't say nothing. People weren't called liars, weren't called conspiracy theories, and none of that shit. It was only this modern day of radio, telegraph, TV sets, shit like that they float out this theory of, oh, it's not real. It's not real.
Seriously.
But just kind of ask yourself, how did we go from living off of candles and horses for thousands and thousands of years to modern day stuff that we have? Computers, aircraft, satellites, wireless communications. Like, that stuff happened in a blink of an eye in the aspect of the age of the earth, like overnight. How do you think that technology happened? We were just getting into 100 years of like really true mechanical stuff. There's not much science here. This is mechanical. This is not electronic. This is not a digital world. This is mechanical. You know what I'm saying? We were just starting to get somewhere with that and progress as a society. And then all of a sudden, bam, jet fighters, radars, computers, televisions, camera, like it doesn't add up, man. It just doesn't add up. There had to be somebody who influenced our technology, and not just America, the whole world.
If you think about it, with telephones, for example, those were made late 1800s. So I mean, that's like saying, oh, we went from telephone to cell phones, and now they're tiny little computers in our hands, and that took well over 100 years, well over 150. A lot of that, while it seems like a really small amount of time, it's amazing how technology can kind of grow exponentially. You go
well. Here's maybe a more
from a steam engine
better
to a combustion
example.
engine.
World War II in the 1940s, we're flying airplanes with gasoline piston-driven engines with propellers.
There were jet fighters in World War II as well.
Well, the Germans had experimented bringing out jet fighters.
Well, they didn't just experiment; they had
yes,
jet fighters.
Yeah, they were maybe the first. Like they claim they're the first, but who knows? There could have been some dude working on one in the middle of Russia too. We don't know. But anyways, yes, you are correct. The Germans came out with a jet fighter in World War II.
The British,
what I'm
and the
saying
Americans
is,
had them too, but they weren't as refined as the Germans and weren't as widely dispersed.
Well, okay. Well, we'll give you the first jet engine in the 40s.
Actually, the
30s. Okay. Let me just move on
you can go way back farther than that. Do you know when the first
the rocket engines? Yeah, I get you.
No, you're not letting me finish. Do you know when the first jet engine that they have a working blueprint for was made? I guarantee you don't know.
They found it in King Tut's tomb.
No, it's from the Roman Empire.
Okay,
there was an engineer in the Roman Empire who designed a jet engine that they actually got the plans. They found them in one of the libraries over in the former Roman Empire. I don't know if it was in Italy or somewhere, but I remember they found the working plans. A group of scientists got those blueprints, built the engine, and it would have worked. I believe it was at the time of Nero, and Nero would not let the guy build the thing to prove it. He also designed a working steam engine back then. Can you imagine if the Roman Empire would have had jet and steam engines? How different the world would be today.
Yeah. Well, okay, we get to. But here's the point I was trying to make. In the 1940s, we had a certain level of technology, and let's just look at aircraft. Okay, and that hadn't been around that long. The Wright brothers, that was still in the 1900s. But anyways, we went immediately from that to in the 50s, Russia's already sending satellites into space. And then we are too. And then in the early 60s and mid 60s, which is only a 10 to 15 year span here, technically, we're sending John Glenn into space. And then the same things off of that sent us to the moon. We went from riding horses to flying in canvas-made aircraft to get off the ground to rockets sending us into fucking space, dude. In a blink of the time of technology. Look at the last 10, 15 years at technology has exploded that we developed. But look at the years before that. Like, they couldn't even build any type of electronics with anything that worked in a vehicle for 20 fucking years. You get junk. But there's no technology growth. But in the whole rest of the time, we go from, like I said, riding horses to fucking walking on the moon, and you don't think some kind of higher intelligence played a role in that?
100 years is actually a really long time. And to think that technology can't explode in that amount of time. Think first combustion engine that Henry Ford made. And
well,
then,
why didn't technology not even explode? Why didn't it just slightly pop some
Because
in the previous 10,000 years?
It wasn't just sudden. There was always technological advances. Look at the armor. If you go back in armor, look at the armor the Greeks wore to the Romans to the medieval knight. That was an exponential climb in a short period of time. It's not necessarily that things can't exponentially explode. You have to come up with that one breakthrough. You come up with that one breakthrough, and all of a sudden, everything's based on that one breakthrough. If you go back and you look at the experiments that people like Ben Franklin were doing back in the 1700s, that's what led through the 1800s to where you got to the 1900s, and we had the light bulb. It wasn't an instantaneous Edison or whoever you want to credit for the light bulb came up with the light bulb, and all of a sudden electricity was everywhere. It was a slow progress through over 100 years of experimentation.
and as far as like rockets and everything else, you can credit a lot of that to the atomic bomb and the race for space and everything else.
If we weren't for rockets, you go back to the ancient Chinese.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you want to go really far back, I'm just talking about going from the Wright brothers in what was that, 1914 or something like that. I don't remember 100%, but no, it was before that. I'm an idiot. 1902, whatever it was exactly. But you go from the Wright brothers to the biplanes that we had in World War I and whatnot, and 30 years you're jumping up to jet planes. Then shortly after that, which, I mean, you figure from the time that we dropped the first atomic bomb to putting somebody in space, it was almost 30 years. Not quite. That's still a lot of time. And honestly, would we have done it in that amount of time if we weren't racing the Russians? And say, if you want to devote the time, energy, to developing something, a lot can get done in a short amount of time, but you got to want to put the effort in.
When you look at the technology in a jet engine, it's not as advanced as people actually think it is. A jet engine is nothing but a giant fan turbine. That's all it is.
Forcing a bunch of thrust through a very small opening.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Might have been the greatest one ever. Congratulations, sir.
Okay, well, like, you agreed. Okay, you guys are in agreement about technology can just accelerate, and there's lots of ways we can have anything. What brought this up was, I told you, they've been testifying in Congress that, hey, there's alien aircraft out there. If you didn't notice, they've came up with a new, like, you all know what UFO stands for, right?
Unidentified
flying object.
Yeah.
But
now you
UAP.
assume that as being from someplace else, the green men from Mars or whatever.
Not necessarily. Okay? There's lots of. All that means is it's something you don't know what it is.
Unidentified. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's just we've been conditioned to think little green men.
Unidentified covers a lot. Okay. But would you know that they've came up with a new term?
Yeah, unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Yeah. Well, there's a man-made UFO one now that the government's been using, the military's been labeling stuff as that, and all the whistleblowers come through. All the stuff, like you've seen the TikTok video and the other one that they released, and the pilots are flying with it, like, oh my God, look at that thing fly, all that shit. That's all smoke and mirrors, man. Those are not UFOs. That's our stuff. And they leak it out like it was stolen from the the CIA and this dude's the new whistleblower and he's showing you these videos and now they're testifying in Congress and the Tic Tac video and all that. That's not from outer space. That's a man-made one. That's stuff that we have, man.
The Tic Tac? I don't know.
We've copied that from alien shit that we have. It's just funny, like I said, nobody blinked an eye, nobody noticed Congress said anything, but the subject under the UFOs, since communication has been electronically controlled in this country, everything you see or know, in my opinion, it's not a conspiracy theory, it's not a cover-up, it's more than that. It's a story where the truth is buried 3 and 4 folds away. Like there's what really happened, there's what they want you to think, there's the conspiracy theory that gets fed just to put a different story out there to catch your attention, and then 3 and 4 down the line is where the truth actually lies. But you'll never get that far because everybody gets stuck right there at the conspiracy theory part.
So if we start shooting down stuff with lasers tomorrow, would you say it was aliens that gave us the technology?
Well, if we... Oh, okay, I misunderstood your question.
No, it's all right. Just the reason I ask is because we have direct energy weapons now.
Okay, I get your question. Yeah, yeah, man. I'd say all our advanced technology, from the military to us sitting here at home, came from a higher source. But when you first asked that question, I thought you were going to say, if we shot down an object, you think that's the aliens, and I was going to say, well, I'm sure we wouldn't be shooting at our own stuff.
Yeah, no, with the way I worded it, that might not have been the best wording, but I was like, Jason's smart, he'll get this. But no, because we have direct energy weapons. I mean, essentially, we can shoot down stuff with super high power lasers. We don't have to fire projectiles anymore. That is a thing of the past.
Actually, from what I've heard, some of our simple stuff, just like the radar, like airplane radar, like air traffic controller,
mm-hmm.
the older equipment, like the analog type equipment from back in the day, I heard that disrupts the thing on some of the alien crafts, on some of them, from some particular species of aliens. That's why they have crashed. Because I also thought about this, if you're talking about the aliens. How come it is, apparently, if you want to say, okay, this is an alien, this is a flying saucer, this is a spaceship, it came from someplace else. And the nearest someplace else is pretty fucking far away. So they made it, traveled all the way here, and got to Earth, and then all of a sudden it fucking broke down or they crashed or something, you know what I mean? That don't make no sense. So from what I've heard some people say on these whistleblower things and these inside document people, the early radar that we had back at World War II days and stuff disrupted the flight abilities of this shit. So you don't have to necessarily shoot them down. You don't have to necessarily have a laser beam that melts metal or bullets or something. There's ways to interfere with their technology.
It doesn't make sense because all radar is radio waves.
Well, we don't know how these things... Yeah, we don't know what operates these things.
Would you let me finish? If you want to say that radar is knocking down alien aircraft, so would coming across an FM radio station.
Yeah.
Well, from how I brought that up is they're saying, like, the one that you're going to be familiar with was Roswell. And they're saying it was the radar systems at the nearby military place that made those saucers crash there. Because there wasn't just the one. There was the one that, like, everybody knows about and, like, oh, hey, there's flying saucer. The next day, oh, it was a weather balloon.
So I have a question for you, Jason.
There was another one that happened real close by there
I'd be more
within
inclined,
weeks or something of that incident
Hold on.
happening.
Hold
I'd
on,
be
Rich.
more inclined to think it was microwave than radar waves. Just saying.
So
Well, whatever. I don't know. I was just trying to describe what it is. It could
Yeah,
have
I
been
just don't-
technically a microwave. I don't know. I'm
Well,
just
I
saying.
just don't buy the
Our-
radar wave part.
hold on. I got a question.
Our things for running the airport, okay, interfered with their cruise control, and the motherfuckers wrecked. That's
But that-
what I'm
that'd
basically
be-
trying to get at in a summed up point of view.
That'd be radar. But the thing is, again, like Rich said, radars are just radio waves, and then they bounce off an object and return, and that's how we can tell what it is and how fast it's going, things like that. But my question is, how can we determine that if we don't know what these objects are?
They're a vehicle from
Yes, but my point
someplace
is,
that's
if we
not
don't
Earth.
know what's propelling these objects, what kind of technology they have, et cetera, how can we just simply say radar's what's doing it? Perhaps they just got struck by lightning. I mean, maybe they're building up too much static electricity while traveling through the air, which would happen, and then just a little jolt and boom, down they go.
Well, the kind of the point I was getting at, though, like, because you was talking about shooting them, I'm just saying,
Well, no, I'm not
no
talking
matter
about
where
shooting
they
down
come from or what
spacecrafts.
makes them hover or fly or whatever, they're not invincible.
I was just asking.
It's not like, you know what I'm saying?
I wasn't
said,
talking
they
about
made
shooting
it all
down.
the way here, and they didn't just crash in America. Everybody's got crashings. Russia, England, all the major places got UFO crashings.
So,
It's
Jason,
just funny that they can travel all this way and then fuck up and wreck. You know what I mean? It's there's something about that. So they're like not invincible. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, if they're being piloted by little green dudes, if you think of them as human, then chances are they too make mistakes. They're not infallible. But going back to the laser things, I wasn't talking about actually shooting down alien spacecraft. What I was asking about, tomorrow you found out, like, hey, we're shooting down whatever the hell we feel like with lasers. Would you attribute that to aliens, or would you attribute that to the development of lasers over multiple decades now?
I like Buck's idea.
What's that?
It's on. I got it up on the screen. Oh, you probably can't read it. Everybody knows that a deer jumped out and made them crash. So what Buck is confirming is that Santa Claus exists.
That's what I was
and
just going to
it's
say.
his fault. It's his fault that the aliens crashed.
Fucking Rudolph.
Mhm.
But because
Rudolph's nose blinded the poor bastards.
Yep. But because Jason, we our military does have direct energy weapons now. But the thing is, they've had those direct energy weapons for at least a decade, and that's just what they're telling us. They could have very well had them long.
they've had them half a century, buddy. That's what I was pointing out. Look, all this super technology that has changed the world, who got it first? Wasn't us civilians sitting in our homes. We didn't get this technology first. We get the hand-me-downs from what our government's got. I mean, they were drilling samples of rock with cordless drills on the moon in the 60s. But you don't get a cordless drill home till the 90s, buddy.
Well, yeah. Let's say
What's up with that? They got communication. They got video and audio communication wireless to the moon and back live. Like,
You
how
gotta think-
many decades did that take to reach us?
again,
Not-
there's patents,
we
things
had it
like that.
before NASA did. I mean, that's how your TV worked.
Yeah, but that's across the globe.
The
the
military
military
had-
far away.
Satellite imagery. Yeah, okay, that was going across the globe. Yeah, the same way that they bounced the images off the moon to the Earth. Remember, when you're bouncing something from the moon to a satellite that's in orbit around Earth, you don't have the atmosphere of the Earth interfering with that satellite, so you can project that footage a longer distance in the same amount of time.
Okay. Well, explain this one to me. Like if you go on the ocean in a boat, especially like if you like your wind power, well, you got to have sailing charts. You know what I mean? You just can't just like go off in the ocean and like I'm going to land in New York Harbor.
Why
You
not?
could
The Vikings
land up.
did it.
You could end up in Brazil. You know what I mean?
The Vikings did it.
You have to have charts, references, read the sky, something. You have to navigate. That's what I'm getting at.
Yes.
You have to have navigation. Okay. We went into space and went to the fucking moon where we truly left what's, lower Earth orbit. We left. And they know all this stuff about shooting you around the dark side of the moon and how to time this projector. How did they know to navigate
Math.
out in fucking space
Math.
and know that it would work?
Simple
Someone
math.
There is
to
no
tell
guarantee.
them.
There is a good idea that it was going to, but the first astronauts that went to the moon, they knew like something could go wrong here and we're fucked. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to math. The way different objects interact with each other in space, things like that. That
When
can
it's
all be
never
calculated
been
with.
done before, when it has never been
But
done
math
before,
has always
who
been done.
taught them that?
Math.
There's math that
They
says
learned it by the earlier space launches. That's what the whole point of the earlier space launches were.
Well, not only that, but math is a constant. You can calculate all that and never have done it. How do you figure out how to, if we put this motor in this and it weighs this much, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, we should be able to reach a max speed of this? Because math, you may have never hit 400 miles per hour before, but doing the math, if you've got this much fuel and the driver weighs this much and we know the car weighs exactly this much and it's got this many horsepower and et cetera, you can do the math and be like, this should be the top speed of this car if we've got enough run distance.
yeah, and that's on paper. That never translates to physicality.
It's
But
physics.
you can have an
It's-
idea, but this is a hell of a gamble when you're talking navigation out
It's not that
to the
big a
moon.
gamble.
And you don't know what gravity does. You don't know the effects of any of it. You've
They know
never
what
been
it do.
there before.
Yeah, they do. That's why
They-
they did the other space launches. The
They-
other space launches were to figure out how to get to the moon.
And say we've observed gravity and studied it and calculated it since Newton. And go, oh, okay, this is the effects of gravity, et cetera, et cetera. Why does this planet do this? Oh, well, when Jupiter passes here, it has a gravitational tug, and it, all that is just math. Now, at the end of the day, something could go wrong, and like I said, those astronauts getting on that Apollo mission were like, oh shit, we could be just floating through space forever.
Well, see, here's the thing. Math, to me, like saying like, oh, it's just simple math. That is an Earth thing. That is something that we created, unless aliens gave it to us. But
No.
that is kind of naive to think.
Math is
that
actually the one way.
But the
we would-
properties of math and the powers that we give it and the explanation abilities that we give it, that's kind of
No.
naive to think
No, it's
that
not.
applies
It's not.
Math is
to
a
the whole
universal
universe.
constant.
Our rules
Yes.
of mathematics applies to everything that's on every planet everywhere.
Yes.
Yes.
Applies to us. Okay.
Yes. Math is a universal constant. If we were going to communicate with aliens, we would send it in mathematical forms. So, and it's
they've already
to send them
done
what's 2 plus 2 because they have no idea what the fuck a 2 is for
But
us.
you can't
However,
believe
if we
that-
send
that
it almost like a
somehow or
Morse code
other
type thing where it's coded,
people-
like what was it? Sirius?
I'm trying to
I'm trying to think which star.
One of the deep space probes, they did exactly that. There are recordings of mathematical equations that are done using symbols instead of like actual numbers, because we don't know what their writing style is going to be, obviously. But
Yep.
you take 2 dots, you add a dot, it's going to come out to 3 dots no matter where you're from.
So
Essentially, if you make a pattern with that,
you literally will believe in math, but you won't believe the fact that someone came up and said, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna take these 3 people out." I don't get that, dude. How do you not fucking understand that people?
Hey, Scotsman.
I'm not trying to be a dick, dude. I'm just
No,
asking
I'm not
you
trying to be a dick either. I'm asking you what 2 plus 2 is. I'm being dead serious right now.
No, dude, seriously, come on, man.
I'm being dead serious. What's 2 plus 2?
That's retarded.
How is that retarded? I'm pretty sure 3 other people on this panel will say 4. What's 2 times 2?
You're going based off of what they've told you.
No, we're going based off of the fact
I
you
can-
take 2 to something,
All
you
right.
add another 2 to something.
So,
you got 4
Scotsman, do me a
outside.
favor. Hold one finger up in front of your face. Hold up another finger. What's 1 plus 1? Is that going to be 2 there? Yeah, that's going to be 2. Now let's do that with 2 fingers on each hand. Is that going to give you 4? Yep.
Well, you know, the ancients had a
That's not
different
anybody telling me
form
that. I
of-
can make that simple observation. Math is a constant.
No, it's not constant, because the ancients
Yes, it is.
used to have a different form of math. They used
Yeah,
to
there's all
base
kinds of forms
everything
of
off
math,
of
but-
12 and not 10.
You're
Their-
making
their
it
whole-
the constant when it's
Their
not
whole
constant.
concept of everything was different than what we have, but yet they built the pyramids that
That's
still
like
survived, and
saying
we don't
just
know
because
how.
the rest of
They
the
had
world
totally
measures with
different
metric,
math.
and
It
we
just-
measure with the standard measurement
It
that
doesn't matter if you label everything by 10 or everything by 12. You still you have one object, you have another object, you have 2 of that object.
12 plus
Whether
12 is
you
24.
group
10
how
plus
you
10 plus
group it
4 is
doesn't
24. It
fucking
doesn't matter.
Well, I don't see how you think something earthbound applies everywhere. Like we were talking about.
It's
the
not
alien-
earthbound. It's the problem.
the-
You're saying it's
Well,
earthbound,
look at
but it's
this.
not.
The flying saucers. We were just talking the flying saucers. What kind of engine they got? We don't know. It's some unknown technology. We
Okay,
don't
what's
know
that
what
got to
the
do with
physics
math?
of it. We see
What do
these
you mean,
objects.
What's that got to do with math?
We see these objects doing flying at thousands of miles an hour. There's your math that we can't do. We see them turn on a dime and create
So once
G-forces
we
that's
know-
math
no,
that
no.
we can't do.
Once we
So
know what their
whatever it
technology is, then we could do the math and figure out how that is propelled and all kinds of stuff. But we have to know what that technology is in the
We
first
just
place.
haven't developed that technology.
our
yet. That's
understanding
all
of
is.
it doesn't match.
You're trying to
theirs.
say that by
so how
doing
come
math,
our
we should
math
just.
doesn't match theirs? If math,
No, it
Does
does.
match theirs. That's
We just
the
don't have the
problem.
technology
We
to
don't-
be able to
we
say this
haven't-
is what it is.
We haven't developed the same ancient technology. That doesn't mean math doesn't exist.
man, just to me, when you say our math on this planet Earth matches the entire universe, that's like saying our language of English here on Earth matches the whole rest of the universe.
No, because it's not universal.
No, 'cause it's
Math
a
is
language.
universal.
Language isn't universal. Math is.
If there's one universal constant, well, I shouldn't say one. There's multiple universal constants: the speed of light and math.
Well, you know these people that
The
tell
only
you
difference, the
that-
only difference between math here and math on Sirius, Andromeda, Alpha Centauri, it's going to be the language used to demonstrate it. That's it. Instead of saying one, they may call it Guggenblah because that's their language.
But in all seriousness, how do you fucking know that? You don't.
You do.
You're,
You do.
literally sitting
You
there.
assume
no, stop,
it. You
stop,
assume.
stop.
No,
Oh,
it's
no,
not an
you
assumption.
stop.
You're assuming
You're
that you
full
know
of it.
this.
No, you're
Who
full
is
of it.
Echo?
Scotsman's got the echo.
Oh, okay.
You're assuming that you know this. You don't know this.
No, it's very easily proven.
Very easy. Yeah, this is a constant. It's not something that you can't say can't be proven. Again, if you have one of one object, it doesn't matter. Change the language. You have one, you add another. You have two. Like I said, the only thing that's going to change in that equation anywhere in the universe, it's going to be the language used to demonstrate 1 and 1.
So,
Let's say-
so if a little green man beamed on the light down onto your front porch right now, and you asked that motherfucker what 2 + 2 is, you think he's going to tell you 4?
No, because he has no idea what the fuck the English language is.
4 is. He doesn't know the English language.
What if
But
he
you
speaks
take
English?
4 of something,
So
If
how
he
do
speaks
you-
English,
how-
then absolutely he'll tell me 4, unless he doesn't know how to do math. But
so
we're
how can
assuming
you
that
say
he
it's
knows how to do
universal?
math, so then
You're
yes, he would
saying
say
it's fucking
4.
Universal when it's not universal.
It is universal. You guys are saying that it is limited to the Earth. You want me to prove how
You
it's not limited to the
literally just
Earth?
fucking said- You literally just said it's not.
Do you want me to
universal.
prove how it's not limited to the
another
Earth?
2 of an object. That's 4 of an object, no matter where you are.
Both literally
the only
just
thing
said it's
that's
not
going
fucking
to
universal.
change is the words.
It is
in
universal.
The given language to
It
demonstrate
ain't.
that.
You just
The
fucking both
basic
admitted it.
principle of math is going to be the same. God. It's not
So you want me to
hard.
prove how it? You're saying that the math we have on Earth would be different everywhere else, right?
I'm saying it could be.
No.
And
So
no.
hold
Do
on.
you know anybody from there that can?
No, I can
that?
prove
Can
it
you
right
prove
now.
it?
Hold on. So how do we have Voyager 1 actually out past the Kuiper Belt at this point, getting ready to travel through interstellar space? We did math to figure out how to propel it out of our orbit,
How-
then
you
slingshot it
believe
off of
you
Jupiter,
actually-
which
you actually
involved
believe it's
math.
there?
What's that?
You actually believe it's there?
What's what?
I guess if you want to go with more insane fucking conspiracy theories,
I'm just asking a question, dude. Do you actually fucking believe it's there?
100%. We
See,
get
and
signals
that's-
from it.
Okay, but I get a signal on my fucking cell phone. Doesn't mean I believe what it tells me.
You're like, just Google this, Google that. Google's got all the answers.
No, dude, you.
No, that's what you-
apparently
that's
think-
what you told me earlier,
apparently
just do a
think
Google
everything is
search.
Fucking, whatever you Google is fucking true. So yeah.
That's what you told me. Just do a search. It's easy.
In fairness, that is what you said.
Well, see, man, to me, the thing like that, the math is just like the science that they tell us of space. They tell us this. They don't fucking know. They tell you something. It's 1,000,000 light years away. How the fuck do you know that? Don't tell me math.
100% math.
We've
Math-
never,
math
we don't
and
We have-
physics.
light years. You've never seen an object move at light speed. Light speed is a theory.
No, light speed is a constant.
description.
Oh, light
It's a
speed is-
description of
light
trying to
moves at a
describe
constant speed.
something.
You ever
Light moves
hear
at
of
a
E
constant
equals
speed.
mc
It's
Speed
not
squared?
of
random.
light. The speed of light.
Squared is the constant.
They
which
look
is-
through a telescope and they look at a bright white thing in the sky and they say it's so many millions of light years away. How the fuck do they know that?
by the amount of time it takes for the light to reach us.
Ah, so they do math, but there's no possibility they're wrong.
No, because we have math to fuck.
Rob, it's Saturday. man.
How do
You're
you measure a speed?
I've heard
light?
of science deniers, but fucking math deniers?
I'm not denying our math and we make it work for our society. I'm denying the fact that you think anything that applies to Earth is universal to the whole rest of
It
the
doesn't.
universe.
That's where you're getting crossed up, Jason. Is you only applies to Earth, and it doesn't. Math is universal. Math applies to Earth because it's universal, because the Earth is in the universe.
How did we exist before math?
There's always been math, Jason. Like it.
Oh,
We-
okay, when we didn't have written language, how did you teach math?
You didn't, because you lived in a fucking cave and
Well,
just
you
hoped
didn't
you
have
get eaten
math.
by a saber-toothed tiger.
We
You
didn't have
still
math.
had math because you had some way to count how to do things.
How can
Counting
you
is
say,
math.
How can you say it's universal when man created it?
It wasn't created. That's
It
like
was fucking
saying
created.
no, it wasn't. That's like
was.
saying
No,
Ben
fucking second
Franklin
one.
created electricity.
It
Ben
was.
Franklin
It
didn't
was
create
fucking
electricity.
Dude, get the fuck out of here.
What are you talking about? Again, using
Dude, it
some
was
logic,
fucking
and you don't like
created.
it.
It was created, and you don't like
No,
it.
it wasn't created.
Like I said,
Okay, so where in the fuck did math come from if it wasn't created?
Scotsman, again, hold up your fingers in front of your face. Put one finger up on one hand, put one finger up on the other hand.
I
Can you
got
count
two
those? Go
fingers
1,
right here
2?
for you, brother.
Ooh.
You ain't gonna like them, but I
Yeah,
got
man,
two fingers.
look.
Oh no, I promise. I'll like them.
It
Like
had
Wood
to.
said, math was discovered, not created.
Math and science was created, and it's only been around a brief time period of mankind. I mean, how do you teach math? Like,
Math's been around
Even
tens
ro-
of thousands of years.
how did it start? The first dude who learned math had to learn it from somebody else. And if he was
No.
the first dude to learn math, who was the somebody else that taught it to him? Where'd it come from?
Good Lord.
Again, hold up a finger on one hand. Say
Start
1, 2.
counting objects,
Congratulations, you just did math. That's
You're
where
a
it came
caveman
from.
living in a cave. You started counting sticks. You just discovered math. It's that simple.
You didn't know to count. You just had
How do you know?
fingers.
How do you know? Were you there?
How do you fucking know?
Yeah,
Like,
how do you
seriously,
know?
you guys
Logical,
you are
that's
making
how.
a fucking argument out of
No, you're
nothing.
making an argument that is completely, totally illogical.
No, you are.
No, you are. You
Like,
have
what
been
the
fuck? Your Titanic thing was totally.
Mom, he hit me first.
Dude, seriously, come on.
Come on, nothing. Your Titanic shit was all horse shit from the beginning.
It ain't horse shit. It's fucking
It's
true.
absolute horse shit.
See, that's
So-
proof the math didn't add up for the Titanic, man. The math was wrong.
Well, no, actually, here we go, because I can tie that in. So how did they know exactly
Yeah,
Where
how
was it
did
gonna
they know
be to hit it?
exactly where that freaking iceberg was?
unless they did math?
Well, no. I got a catch-22 here. How did they know where the iceberg was to hit it?
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
No, answer the goddamn question. How
Well, I mean, I
did
could-
they
Dude,
know where
come on.
the iceberg was? No, not
Didn't-
come on.
You are
Did-
literally
How
out
did
in
they
the middle
How
of the
did they
fucking.
know
You're out
where
in the middle.
fucking
Hold on.
iceberg?
Stop,
Answer
stop,
the
stop.
motherfucking question, Scotsman.
I'm answering your fucking question.
No, you're
Shut up and
not.
listen.
You're
Rich, hold on. I want to hear what he says.
Shut
Rich,
Shut up
calm
and
down.
Listen.
I want to hear what he
You're
says.
literally out in the middle of the fucking ocean, and this guy
In the
has
middle of the
nothing
fucking
but
ocean. How big
he
is the
has
Atlantic Ocean?
he
They put out-
has 3 options: go straight, go right, go left.
How
He
did they
goes
know
fucking
the
straight.
iceberg? How did they
That
know
does not
that
answer
the iceberg
Because
was?
they knew the iceberg was
because
going to be there.
another ship
No,
telegraphed that there was icebergs
Telegraphed
over
how?
there, and they say,
Telegraph how?
they
Telegraph
s-
requires a line from
well,
one
whatever, they
object
did it
to
on
another.
their, however the ships communicated. Another boat reported it. Another boat reported icebergs
Reporting to who?
then. Whoever they report to, because in the story of the Titanic, the captain ignored those reports and sped up faster.
Reports that were how long? Do you know how long it took to get reports from one place to another? Because they didn't have radio yet.
Well, they had
But
a
according to you, they got mathematics.
They had math. Yes, that's how they
Okay,
navigated.
so if they got mathematics, they can calculate how to get the fuck out the way. But they
They,
didn't.
they did have
They
Morse
didn't
code,
know
though.
the iceberg was there. You know
Hold
how
on,
they
Rich,
didn't
Rich.
know the iceberg was
There-
there?
there
They
was
didn't have
reports
fucking
of iceberg.
radar to detect it.
Rich, hold on. I'm going to help their argument real quick, but then I'm going to destroy it with math. So, one, they did have, but, so perhaps they sent out scout ships to figure out where iceberg was. But then we had to do
They
math
launched
because
them off their little.
No, there was just
no. I'm
other
saying
boats that are out
before
there doing
before the
their boat
Titanic
thing.
even sailed, they went out, found a big badass iceberg. They're like, all right, there's this iceberg. We're gonna have to make sure that this ship is done by this amount of time, and that everybody's on it. And we got to make sure that we set sail at this time. And then the iceberg left Greenland, being 20 knots, heading due south, and we'll have the Titanic leave England on this day, moving at 30 knots, heading due west. So if the iceberg's moving at 20 knots and the Titanic's moving at 30 knots, how long will it be until they collide in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean?
Well, maybe they was told about icebergs the same way they told the boat that they were sinking and come try to get the survivors.
Again, that's Morse code.
Dude, seriously, you're taking this completely and utterly out of the freaking ballpark.
No, you are. You're
No, I'm
it's
not.
bullshit.
Stop.
No,
Dude,
you
seriously.
stop. You saw some conspiracy theory.
Hold on, Rich. I want to hear how we're out of the
Stop.
ballpark.
Listen to me.
Let him finish. Yeah.
Listen.
Rich, wait. I want to hear how we're out of the ballpark. This should be entertaining.
No, stop. Please, listen. The ship
I've
was
listened
supposed...
enough to this horse shit. I know you're damn here. You can listen.
Fuck you, Rich. I just shot fucking tea out my nose. God
If you
damn it.
recall, the whole time you
Oh,
were
that fucking
arguing
bird.
this shit, I didn't say a word because I wanted to hear your horse shit right at the beginning. Everything you said is total bullshit. Every goddamn word of it.
Well,
Lord.
Jason agrees with me, so apparently it's not fucking horseshit. So
Well,
whatever.
yeah,
dude.
Jason agreeing with Jason. I mean, you guys stick together.
Oh, Jesus
You don't have to
Christ.
fucking blow me. I don't fucking care, man.
Oh, I love you guys. Oh. Hey, guys, we can yell at each other like this and not get mad at each other. I mean, I just find it funny.
Dude,
My
it-
fucking
it-
head hurts right now.
I just find it funny.
No, I laughed too hard and it built up the fucking pressure, and my fucking brain's not draining it off fast enough.
See,
it's just-
all of this transpired coming off of the thing
It's
of
like-
telling you. They admit that we got aliens, and we skipped all over the whole point.
We've been all
Do you
over the
think
Look how
we
we
got
fucking come back
fucking-
full circle.
You think we got aliens
Who the
or
hell
not
knows?
that we take technology from?
Who the hell knows, honestly?
Uh,
That's what I've said for years, and I still say, who the hell knows?
So
I mean, who says they're telling the truth about aliens at this point? We don't know.
I think there's too many world governments that have said these exist. Now you could go on another conspiracy theory that it's just a bunch of world governments saying, "Hey, these exist because they want to
Exactly.
distract us with other shit." But I will go on record as saying, yeah, I do believe that we have some sort of alien spacecraft in our possession. However, if you listen to Paul Lazar, or Bob Lazar, excuse me, we don't have the technology to propel these ships because it involves an element of 115. We don't have that on Earth. We haven't actually discovered it yet. There's some elements that we can make in a laboratory, but they almost vanish instantly after we create them. So until we find element 115 floating out in the universe, we have, even if we duplicated their ships and everything else, actually propel them.
The thing about Bob Lazar and that Lou, what's his name? Anyways, the Lou
Faber?
Alondo guy or whatever. He's the new
Oh.
Bob Lazar. Those guys are, I don't know how to say this. They're like counterintelligence agents. They're put out there as like, here's Bob Lazar, the whistleblower, the insider, and all this and that, and he's telling you stories, and half everybody's gonna say, oh, it's made up, and then the other half are, oh no, I believe the guy, he's a whistleblower. He's telling you what he's approved to tell you. He's telling you things to make you believe one side of something that might not be the truth. He's just a little piece out there to keep things going and the conversation going and the fight between, oh, I believe him, and others, oh, well, he's a liar.
So this is another conspiracy inside of a
He's
conspiracy?
Like I said, when it
Well,
comes
actually, I
to
think that would be a
aliens,
conspiracy inside of a
it's the
conspiracy.
third
Inside of
or
a conspiracy.
It's the third or fourth layer to find the truth. And Lou Elizondo, whatever, and
Elizondo.
guys like him, they are in the middle right there, man. They are working to keep the narrative up and at 50-50 is what they're doing. They're keeping
Or
the
is it
narrative
that if you just
50-50.
tell enough people, then the government can't actually off you without raising eyebrows? So then they just
No,
label
they
you as a
still off
crackpot.
your ass. If you
Well, no, because then it raises eyebrows and lends credibility to what you're saying. However, if they just label you as a crackpot and
it
discredit
doesn't
you every
raise
step of the
any
way,
eyebrows when they control the news and the media.
how doesn't it?
If you actually, we'll look right now. What I was mentioning earlier, the Tic Tac videos that Lou Alonso or whatever his name is.
Elizondo.
Oh, he was in charge of the ultra, deep cover, deep CIA. Only the important people get to know. Agency dealing
Project
with
Blue Book.
UFOs and all this and that. And those two videos, the Tic Tac one, and then the other one where it splashes or whatever, and then there's another one like where it's just like a thing emitting black smoke or whatever and stuff. Oh, those are leaked top secret documents. Oh, he stole those when he was frustrated and he quit
No-
the agency.
Nobody
and he's
ever
now
said
a
that. Where the hell did you hear
whistleblower.
that?
That's
Those
what they
are-
all are. Those
No,
that
they were-
TikTok video and all that stuff.
They
That
were gotten
shit
by a
came
FOIA
out.
request.
No, it didn't.
Yes.
That shit came out. That shit
Holy
came
fuck.
out back in like 2004, 2005. We all seen those videos then. It wasn't up until like almost recently that they acknowledged those. So for all that time, those was stolen top secret that they're making you believe was stolen top secret videotapes, and he stole them and he showed them to everybody. If he'd
How
have
would he
done
steal
that,
them? He's a fucking fighter pilot. He'd have to hack into
no,
this
no,
fucking
no.
government
Lou
system.
Alonso is the dude who was in charge.
Project Blue Book just friggin'
No, this isn't Project Blue Book. That Lou Alonso that it leaked out those videos.
Like
of
2017.
TikTok and
Lou
everything.
Elizondo
No,
is the head of fucking Project Blue Book.
2004. Dude, those been on the internet since like
They were not
2004,
investigating in
2005. And he was always touted as he took these secret videos from the government. If he'd have done that, that'd have been a ton of crimes. He would be in prison. If it was truly he leaked out, stole any type of technology that was vital to our national security, he had been often dead. But he wasn't. This dude has the ability to go on TV shows, make YouTube interviews, go on TV shows, even testify in court, and say all this because he's allowed to, man. Those TikToks and those other things that they plan out there and they say, oh, it's aliens. Look, here's proof it's aliens. Those are not fucking aliens. Those are vehicles that we have man-made us ourselves. But they are covering them up in the narrative that they're aliens. Those TikTok videos and all that, that is not new news. Seriously, dude, I am not making this up. That has been out since the early mid-2000 eras, right? As leaked secret documents. It wasn't even put out, like when they put it out here in Congress and did all that and showed it and all this and that, that was no surprise because we have seen that for 10 years, man. It like the Lou Alonso and the other dude from 51, the Bob dude, they are just plants. They are puppets out there to sell a story. You either believe them or you don't, but it keeps you from looking at the real truth. I'm just saying that. Those so-called whistleblowers, and that's my proof. If you would stole top secret documents and put them out there, your ass would be in fucking trouble.
That's the big ticket right there, man. Keep the secret documents hidden and this, that, the other, and all the shit they're doing. That's exactly what they do. 110%.
Yeah, everything you see and told, even in these Congress hearings, this is all a diversion. Like I said, it's 2, 3, 4, 5 layers thick. And what they show you, like whistleblowers come out and like, oh yeah, there's men from Mars and this and that. There's some truth to it, but there's not some truth to it. They're planning a narrative. Just like what I've heard about the thing right now, like the TikTok videos and stuff. They bring those up. It's like, ooh, look at these craft. We don't know what they are. Uh-oh. That is a risk to our national security. What does that mean? We need to figure this out. What does that mean? We want a whole bunch of fucking money in a secret fucking budget so we can deal with these things that we don't know what they are. But the truth is, we know what they are. They're ours. But that's not they're telling you. They're sneaking it out there and letting you think that it's aliens.
So wait, are you defending aliens are real or saying aliens are fake? I've lost track at this point.
Aliens are real. We have took all of our technology that we have from them. And when you try, what they try to do to cover up the aliens, it is misdirect you with stuff that's ours. Just
So
like
they're trying to cover up the aliens by saying there's aliens?
Well, look for years, like before we saw the stealth fighter and the V-wing bomber. You'd seen that shit in the skies for years, and everybody, aliens, aliens, aliens. And the government, oh no, they don't exist, they don't exist, they don't exist. And all of a sudden, bam, we got stealth bombers. And said, oh, well, we've had it for 10 years, and that's what you were seeing. Sorry.
They've been
Well,
doing
the
this
stealth
for
bomber-
easily 20 plus years.
No
The
aliens.
stealth bomber goes all the way back to the flying wing, which was back in the 40s, and Hitler had those, the prototypes of those, and there was, I forget what company here in the U.S. had prototypes of them too. I mean, that shape of aircraft goes all the way back to the 1940s, possibly even the 30s. Specifically talking about the B-2, not the F-117.
Well, here, let me blow your mind. Let me tell you what the big secret is about aliens. It kind of goes to like we were talking about. We don't know what makes their vehicles fly. The thing about the aliens that we got to keep secret and the government holds on to so tightly is the aliens know about energy that we don't. We are driven by energy that's produced by man because it's profitable. See what I'm getting at? Most powerful thing on this whole planet is energy. Look at right now. Look how oil, because we drive cars, look how that controls the whole population.
Okay,
in
so you're
currencies, in car
assuming that
markets.
aliens don't have to pay for gasoline.
No, they have energy that is not
No.
fossil fuel driven, is what I'm saying.
Doesn't-
They
you
have
don't
a
know
form
that.
of free energy.
You
That's-
don't know that. You're making an assumption based on facts, not
Tesla,
evidence.
Tesla proved it.
No, Tesla didn't, because his idea didn't work.
He didn't light up 5 miles of light bulbs wirelessly
He's-
just by grounding them to the earth.
Not to where it would have worked the way you think it did. No. He said himself his idea failed.
No, I think he discovered ultimate forms of energy that is not profitable to the powers that be.
Whatever.
You know the Egyptians had light bulbs, Rich? Where'd they get their energy from?
Oh, where in the hell did you get that from?
You haven't seen the hieroglyphs of their fucking light bulbs and their little power wires?
Oh, for God's sake.
They still exist. Their writings speak of it, and like they chiseled and painted all the hieroglyphs inside of deep pyramids under millions of tons of rocks, but yet there's not enough oxygen for a torch to light the place up to see what you're doing, and there's no soot marks anywhere where they used lots of torches to light up pitch black. So how'd they accomplish that?
Jason, you gotta stop talking, man. We're conspiracy theorists. We're just full of bullshit.
But no, seriously, I'm not making that up. There are hieroglyphs of pictures of what you could easily identify as light bulbs, even with the filament inside of them, with it appearing to glow, it appearing to have a power supply, and this whole scene is lighting up so workers can work. That's thousands of years old, chiseled into stone. So they found the Baghdad batteries that are listed as like what they think they're 5,000 years old.
Yeah, no, I
they
get it.
get voltage off of them. So they had a power source thousands of years ago.
Weren't you the one that said earlier they didn't?
Said what?
Weren't you the one earlier that said they didn't? That all this was a modern, all of a sudden technology exploded and we have all this power and everything?
No, I harped back.
Yeah,
and said
that's exactly
things
what you
was
said.
no. I said things was different. Remember, I said that
No,
like the Egyptians built stuff
You
and
said
had
that
power
all they
and
had-
had
no,
technology.
Jason,
we don't
stop,
have it now.
stop.
They had a different
You,
math than we
you
did.
expressly stated that all they had back in the ancient days was horses and candles. And that all of a sudden, in the 1920s, all this exploded. Now you're saying they had all this shit back in the time of ancient Egyptian. You can't have it both ways, man.
They had a source of power back then that worked off a different type of math. But no, I'm not getting it both ways. I am correct.
Yeah, that's exactly what you just did.
Well, you understood
No,
what I
understood
was
exactly
getting
what
at
you
when I
said.
said we went from candles and horse and buggies.
And you said that's all they had going all the way back to the ancients. Now you're saying the ancients had electricity to power light bulbs. You can't have it both ways. It's one or the other.
Well, maybe the Egyptians were aliens.
Anyway, we need to start wrapping this up. We could go for
Well, to add to
2.5
my
hours.
point, they had a lost technology and power source. And how many it took thousands of years from them to our day to day to have any type of advancement in technology at that level. Everywhere since them has been a lost period of history where we don't know. All that technology, like, argue if you want, but everything over there is made out of rock, blocks stacked on top of each other that we couldn't even lift a single fucking rock today. So how'd they do it? They obviously had ways and abilities that we don't have today because they've been lost over all these years.
You know exactly
Why it
how
suddenly
they do it.
disappeared, I don't know. But they obviously had things. And not just the Egyptians. Look at the architecture and the structures and shit the Greeks and the Romans and everybody has built that we couldn't duplicate today. So
Yes,
there's
we can.
lost.
We do it all the time.
There is lost. We can't lift some of the fucking rocks that shit.
Yes, we do. We do it all. That's
No,
done all
no.
the time, Jason.
Go look at how much the rocks actually weigh. Even if
I
the
know how
Greeks.
much the rocks actually weigh, and it's not some space age alien technology.
I'll tell you
that
right
moves
now.
shit.
I'll tell you right now. Go Google it, Jordan. Look. We don't have a single fucking piece of equipment
Oh,
or a
good God
truck
almighty.
to pick it up that will haul a fucking just a plain 100-ton
Whatever.
rock. Now, some of those rocks built even like in the Temple of Jupiter over in Greece at the bottom. Those
If
are
we can't move a 100-ton rock, how do they
350
move
million tons.
70-ton tanks?
Go look it up. The biggest rock haulers.
No,
They
answer
used
the
to be
question.
100-ton haul
If they
packs.
can't move a 100-ton rock, how do they move a 75-ton tank that doesn't have an engine in it yet?
How do they pick it up off the ground? 70
They
tons.
use
How do they do?
poles.
How do they do that? They don't have a crane that can fucking pick
Yes,
it up.
they do. That's how they do it. But a hoist. They move it by a hoist, put it on a train car, and move it. They've been doing it since World War II with the largest tanks they had back then. You ever hear an IS-3 tank from the Soviet Union, which weighed almost 100 tons?
Google says right here, the clear winner in the heaviest crane lift ever turns out to be the Tazian crane or whatever it is, Yanti Raffles shipyard in China in April of 2008 was able to lift a total weight of
And did I say
20.133 tons.
crane?
Biggest cranes lifted 20 tons.
Did I say crane? You said crane. I didn't say crane. I said a hoist. There's a difference between a crane and a hoist.
Sorry, I had to step away and let the dogs out. What have I missed? Sounds like a lot of
Isn't a crane a hoist?
No.
no. Hoist is going to use pulleys and things like that. Pulleys will actually.
Okay, but he literally said crane. He didn't say hoist. He said crane.
No,
He
I
literally-
said hoist. Jason said
No,
crane.
you literally said fucking
No,
crane.
Jason
dude.
said crane. I didn't. I said they used the
No,
hoist.
you said fucking
Hold on.
crane.
No, motherfucker.
Text
I
chat.
said hoist.
Oh,
Text chat.
Really,
Hold on,
motherfucker?
hold on.
You want to go there?
You know
We're gonna
I'm
get
joking.
a answer here. Text chat.
I'm
What was
laughing.
said? Did Rich White say crane or did he say hoist?
And I specifically said hoist. I specifically stated that they use the hoist to move them and put them on a train car.
Yeah, hoist is going to use pulleys, and if you arrange your pulleys right and things like that, you can actually lift a very, very large amount of weight with minimal effort.
Anyway, we do got to wrap this up for tonight. So, let's see, where do I want to start? Scotsman, anything you want to plug? You got a show tomorrow night? Any of that kind of stuff?
Call him a motherfucker, Scotsman. Call him a motherfucker.
I don't care if he does.
Yeah, motherfucker, I do. It's been a good show. We had a good chat. There's lots of back and forth, but that's okay. And
Not everybody's not going to believe the same thing everybody else does. I mean, we're all individuals, right? That's what makes us different.
no, and I appreciate being here, and that's part of being American. We're all individual, and we all have our beliefs and this, that, the other. So I appreciate it, man. Always good to be here. Good to see everyone out there.
Yep. It's good to have you on for once, since we're not like going opposite each other.
Right, and it's good to be here, man. Again, I do appreciate being here with everyone and seeing everyone out there in the side chat. So, thank you, and God bless America, everyone.
What about you, barbecue?
So if you live on the island Guam, you probably want to get off of that because it's probably going to flip over because Rich White and I were on the same page tonight.
My God, yeah, how the hell did that happen?
Right? And say you're motherfucking everybody else but me.
Yelling at each other.
Exactly. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? But
Aliens.
yeah, probably that's probably what it was. Them and their fucking
Mind
taboo
control
math.
rings.
Fucking aliens. But show every Tuesday night, 11 p.m. We've got to announce the new book for book club just on Tuesday because didn't have one quite selected at the end of the show last week. So if that interests you, cool. If not, whatever. I do the book club because I enjoys it. And thanks for the invite, Rich.
Yep, no problem. What about you, Jay? Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
No, I had a good time tonight.
Call him a motherfucker.
motherfucker.
Hey, don't make me have to start yelling at you, barbecue. We've been getting along all night.
Fuck you, motherfucker.
Listen,
Some
motherfucker,
bitch,
shut
bitch.
the fuck up. Hey, motherfucker, shut up.
Yeah. Let Jason do his
You
plugs,
shut up,
damn it.
motherfucker. What the fuck? My show. Everybody would tell me to shut up, motherfucker. What the hell?
Motherfucker, shut up.
No, you shut up. Hey, sorry. What were you saying? Something, Jason? I forget. Not the one with the lion. The other Jason.
Okay, hang on a second here. Let me do this. Okay.
Now what? What are we
The fuck
supposed to be
is this
looking at?
witchcraft?
What's
What
that
is that? A
look like to you?
dildo?
Yeah.
It looks like some kind of Egyptian glyph with the guy holding a giant plug-in dildo.
Okay.
Look at it.
We're looking at.
Tell me that's not what it looks like.
Well, let's look at this one. Here's a modern day interpretation thing. Oh, where'd it go? Right there. What's that look like? Huh? It's like a light bulb. No.
Is that a
you can
condom?
say- You can say it. What's that?
It looks like a giant plug-in dildo.
What's that look like? Well, might not have light bulbs, but clearly you agree they had electric dildos.
That's exactly what. Look at that first one.
Why is Rich looking at dildo so much?
I'm not. Look, because Jason's got him on the damn screen right now.
Hey Alexa, order a dildo. It's like got to be like 3 people out there just going, motherfucker.
You know.
Ah. Oh, anyways, here's a ancient dildo bulb for you.
Were you doing
Rob's
any plugs,
asking,
Jason,
"It's not that
before
kind of
Rich
party,
so
is it?"
rudely interrupted you?
No, you can move on to the next contestant.
I think we went through everybody already.
No, just leave Rich.
Yeah, Rob's saying it's not that kind of party, is it? No, definitely not. Anyway, I think that's it for tonight. We'll catch y'all later. Everybody have a good night, and stay away from aliens.
Oh yeah, the space cowboys. Yeah.
Well, now we know what D Savage was talking about in that promo, don't we?
That was pretty good, Jason.
Because we're better than you. Yeah.
We're legends in our own mind compared to you.
Snap into a Slim Jim.
Oh yeah.
Everybody say L.A. Night. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that catchphrase.
All right. Good night, everybody.
What? Show's over. Come back next week.
Show's over.
Adios,
I'll go home. You can all go home now.
That motherfucker right there is not real.
Shut your fucking face, mother.